Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. I thought I'd start us out with a little bit of polka music. Why not, right? So it's great to have everybody here joining us at this, I'll call it kind of a double dip type live stream today, where we're going to initially be doing an unboxing of a sewing machine that a real nice gal from New York purchased on eBay. And she told the seller, as I've suggested in the past, don't send me the machine, send it to Scott. And it's always been send it to Scott at the workshop in Wisconsin. Now it's send it to Scott at the workshop in Minnesota. So that's what the seller did. But I don't think the seller visited the Cow Country YouTube channel and went to the playlist of how to pack a sewing machine. Because when Susie and I picked this machine up from the P.O. box and I brought it out to the car, we were both shocked at how poorly this seller protected this machine purchased by Sibel out of New York. Sibel is in New York and really wanted to have one of these machines. So she searched knowing that I didn't have one available right now because they're all in storage. And she rolled the dice and bought it through eBay. It'll be interesting to see what we find today. Because as I'll show you, when you pick the box up, you can literally see the machine bowing through the bottom of the box. And when you touch the bottom of the box, you can feel the machine right through the very thin corrugated cardboard. So it feels like there's little or no protection for this machine. Hopefully, somehow by a miracle, it survived and it got here safely. Packing sewing machines is a labor of love. Go to the playlist on this channel, you'll see I've got multiple versions of packing, but they all have the same common theme, and that is create a fortress, a cocoon around the sewing machine, because it's going to be subjected to a crazy amount of abuse being shipped even short distances. And this machine was shipped all the way from New Jersey all the way to Minnesota. So if someone wants to do the calculation, the distance from New Jersey to the Twin Cities, Minnesota area, I'd be curious how many miles it is. It's got to be about 1,000 miles, right? So imagine how many hands and how many times this box was tossed on the back of a metal truck or dropped on a cement floor. And from what I can feel, at least through the box, it has very, very little, if any, protection at all. It's frustrating, isn't it? And I know when I told Sibel, yes, the box arrived, but it's been packed very poorly, she was bummed out. I mean, she's up in New York, buys this from New Jersey. It gets shipped from New Jersey to Minnesota. You're hoping for the best, right? Like I say, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. But like I said, maybe we'll have a miracle today, and somehow it survived the journey. So anyway, let me look at the list of who's in the live chat right now, and then we're gonna give some clues about what might be in this box. I'm also gonna go back in time a little bit to the year 2009. So if anyone wants to really impress the group and say what happened that was significant in the year 2009, and it has nothing to do with the machine that's in this box, but you'll find out why I'm pointing us to 2009 shortly. So if someone wants to jump on the Google and type in something like what happened that was significant or what historical events happened in 2009, type it in the live chat what you find, and maybe I'll build on your list just a little bit. So, all right, a little bit more polka music while I get my Diet Coke opened up, and then we'll jump into this live stream. We're going to be covering a lot of fun stuff today. Plus, you'll be able to see a really cool machine. It's a 6215C by Singer, and we'll talk a little bit more about that machine when I get done with the unboxing and we introduce that machine, learn a little bit more about it, and also see it sew a variety of different materials through a sewing Olympics on this channel. All right, a little bit more polka music. Why not? Polka music is always fun to listen to. Let me see if I've got, what did I do here? I think I broke it. Polka music. All right, fast forward a little bit. We already heard this song. There we go. Here's some traditional polka music. I love this. All right, let me pause the polka music real quick, and I'll go down and say good morning to everybody that's in the live chat right now. Let me scroll all the way to the top. Well, of course, no surprise, Susie from Minnesota was the first in the live chat today, but right on her heels was Emma from Florida. So Emma is quick as a hiccup. So eventually somebody's going to beat Susie again. But Susie was the first in the classroom today, followed just by Emma. We also have Sarah Stitches. That's a fun name. I wonder if that's just kind of like a screen name or something like that for fun. Sarah Stitches, and she is from King, North Carolina. King, North Carolina. I better drink some more Diet Coke. So King, North Carolina. Great to have Sarah Stitches from King, North Carolina. Also, we have Shirley from the great state of Montana. Great to have Shirley here. And we've got Super Beliza, which I believe is Mindy. And Mindy is out in Arizona, out in that neck of the woods, I believe at least. I think she and her husband relocated somewhere within the state to a real beautiful spot. I remember she sent me some pictures of what that area looks like. So welcome to Mindy as well. Let's see who else we have. Oh, good morning to Aaron Allen as well from the great state of Vermont. Great to have Aaron here. Aaron's saying my packing method looks, her husband thinks it's an insane person. Well, I would say the insane person is the one that ships a sewing machine in a flimsy box like this with little or no padding over a journey of over 1,000 miles. That's a crazy person. That's insanity, I think. Good morning also to Ron. Great to have Ron here. And I think that's about it, everybody, as far as in the live chat at least. So I'm going to do a real quick check on video audio. Make sure my notifications are turned on as well so that I can hear if anyone is. Good morning to Tim as well. Good to have Tim here as well from Thorpe, Wisconsin. Yeah, a little bit more polka music while I do some video checking, audio checking, etc. Yeah. All right, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. All right, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. All right, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. So it looks like we're lagging a little bit. I'm hoping nobody gets that death spin on your screen. The speed test came out okay this morning. I always do a speed test before a live stream to check the upload speed. Again, for live streams, download doesn't mean anything. Everyone's always talking about how fast their download is. When you're doing a live stream, it's all about the upload. And the upload tested fine this morning, but I'm noticing that from the time that I say something on camera, there's about a 3-second delay. So hopefully everything goes okay this morning. Let's see. And Shirley's trying to look up 2009 and isn't finding anything. Maybe there was nothing significant in 2009. Good morning to Alex from California as well. Al Koss, Alex and his wife from California. Great to have you guys here. Emma's talking about the Hudson River plane landing. That's when Sully got a bird strike as he was taking off and ended up landing that big aircraft in the Hudson River. And that is one of the big events that happened in 2009. Any other major events in 2009 that anyone can find? Come on, you guys. Get a Diet Coke or a cup of coffee and go on Google or whatever your search engine choice is and find other significant events that happened in 2009. And then we will start digging into this unboxing and then move on to that 6215C that came from the Twin Cities area from Zoe. Yeah. I'll give you a big hint. Another major event has to do with a presidential election. A presidential election. So analog television ends. That was a big deal. Do y'all remember that? A lot of folks that had the older TVs had to get those little boxes. I remember my dad needed one. My dad needed one of those little boxes for his TV because it would not pick up the digital channels without that little box. Yeah, what a bummer. Yeah, Obama, our first black president in history, was also 2009. 2009. There were a number of other events that happened as well in 2009, but one of the most significant things to this audience, that came about in 2009 is that Scott established Cow Country Vintage Sewing and Restoration on YouTube. That was the debut of this channel back in 2009. And it happened right around January. What was it? No, I'm sorry. It happened on December 21st, 2009. So only about 4 days before Christmas, as a gift to the world, as a gift to the world, I decided to start this YouTube channel. So it started just 4 days before Christmas in 2009. And I'll share some stats with you so you can appreciate where we started in 2009 and where we are today in 2024, 15 years later. And the changes are pretty crazy and significant. Let me just share some of them with you. I got to pull these up on my phone because I saved them there. All right, where do I have them? Hold on a second. Yeah, some of you are probably saying, I didn't know that this Cow Country YouTube channel came on the radar in 2009. Well, it did. It did. Okay, so some of the statistics I want to share with you all. Some of the statistics I want to share with all of you is back in 2009, the average video runtime, because we didn't do any live streaming until just recently. I started live streaming when I was back at the old workshop in Oconto, probably about 2 to 3 years ago. So before we started live streaming, back in 2009, I was shooting short little video clips. They would average about two minutes. Sometimes they would run as long as 5 to 10 minutes, but that was about it. 5 to 10 minutes was considered incredibly long back in 2009, 2010, etc. And I would present these video clips on eBay, where at the time I was selling sewing machines. That's where I started selling sewing machines, and offering workshop magic was through eBay. And over the years, eBay kind of changed a little bit. So eventually I stepped away from that. And then a lot of, I'll just call them what they are, a lot of opportunists, a lot of charlatans started picking up on the idea that they could make some money selling sewing machines on eBay. And some of them even used my my photos and my videos for their machines. And so I got kind of disgusted with eBay, just the entire cesspool culture of that. And I ended up stepping away from eBay. Oh, golly, it's been probably 12, 14 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, something like that. But back then I was doing these short little video clips, and I would put them into the description. With the eBay ad or the eBay listing for that particular sewing machine, so that the folks could actually see the machine sewing. And I would talk about the machine history, kind of like we do now, but a short little snippet type thing. But over the years from 2009 until 2024, does anyone want to guess how many videos have been uploaded to the Cow Country YouTube channel? How many videos are on the Cow Country YouTube channel today after establishing it back in 2009? Yeah, somebody guess, or somebody type it in the live chat. How many videos do we currently have on the channel? You guys are still waking up. Come on, come on. How many videos are on the Cow Country channel? You can actually go to the channel and you can go to the About page and you'll see how many there are. And then the second question is, from 2009 to 2024, how many unique visitors have we had come to the channel? Type that into the live chat. Come on, you guys. Come on, wake up. So Tim is saying around 1,100. Emma's saying around 1,000. Yeah, the correct number is, as of today at least, and maybe it will be plus one because of this live stream today. But we have 1,082 videos. 1,082 videos, and we've got a ton of different playlists showcasing different machines, different manufacturers, different class machines, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the correct answer is 1,082. Now, what about the number of unique visitors to a niche type channel like this? I mean, we're doing vintage sewing machines, right? We're doing vintage sewing machines. How many unique visitors have we had since this channel came online in 2009? Type it in the live chat if you know, or if you want to just throw a guess out there. Have we had 100,000? Have we had 500,000? Have we had 1 million unique visitors to this channel? Go ahead and type it in the live chat. I'm just curious if you know. Yeah. So it looks like Susie typed the number in. 1,082 videos, 3,077,816 views, but it's actually unique visitors. Views are when someone watches a video. A unique visitor is a person that's counted by YouTube if they visit the channel and they spend a certain amount of time watching videos. If they just pop on the channel and they pop away, it doesn't get counted as a unique visitor. They have to be on the channel a certain amount of time. I want to say that the duration is 3 minutes, and then it's counted as a unique view or a unique visitor. So we have over 3 million. And if you do the math from 2009 until 2024, that means that we've had on average about 200,000 unique visitors to the channel every month. Over 200,000 unique visitors to the channel every month, I think is what it comes out to be. Oh, no. I'm sorry. 200,000 visitors per year. I apologize. Per year. Now, talking about the change, on average, based on the analytics for this channel right now, we have on average anywhere from 75,000 to 250,000 unique visitors to this channel every month. So you talk about the change of things over the years from when we first started out in 2009, where we were averaging around 200,000 visitors per year. We now are averaging on certain peak times as many as 100,000 to 250,000 visitors per month. Why do I share that? I share it because there's really an untapped opportunity. There's an untapped opportunity with us only having about 15,000 subscribers. We have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people coming to the Cow Country channel every month, but very few of them take time to click subscribe. They might join the live streams, they might watch the videos, they might be part of that 3 million plus unique visitors, but they do not subscribe. So if any of you in the audience right now are not subscribed, let me encourage you to subscribe so that we can begin to get those numbers more in line with where they should be. Let's see here. And it looks like our average has been around 6 videos or 6 live streams per month. Around 6 videos, 6 live streams per month, which is pretty much what we're doing right now. We do them on most Tuesdays, most Saturdays. So that's 2 a week, 6 to 8 videos or live streams per month. And I would love to do more, but I'm trying to get caught up on machines too. So it's a little bit of a challenge to try to do more than that. As some of you know, there's a lot of preparation in getting ready for these live streams, a lot of preparation. Okay, so let me give you some clues. Let me give you some clues about what's in this repurposed Amazon box that Sibel purchased on eBay, and it was shipped from a seller in New Jersey all the way to Minnesota. I'm going to give you some clues on what might be in this box and see if you can zero in on it. See if you can zero in on it and figure out what we have inside of this container that we're hoping has not gotten seriously damaged. And when you look at the box a little bit closer, I'll show you the box. You'll understand why I've got some concerns about the packing on this. I was talking with Emma just yesterday, and I shared a couple of pictures. Matter of fact, maybe I can find one of those pictures of my packing. I'm beginning to pack up the machine that Emma shipped from Florida that has to go back to Jane. It has to go back to Jane down in Florida. And I think I took one picture I shared with Emma on that. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. But if any of you have seen any of the packing videos, you'll get an idea of why I'm so serious about the packing method and protecting vintage sewing machines like the treasure that they are. Protecting vintage sewing machines like the treasure that they are. But here you can see I've got some fun stuff I'm sending along with the machine. Emma had asked for some grease. So I've sent her, you only see one container in this picture, but I actually sent Emma a container of the green grease that I made up at Candido's request. And then also the purple grease. You can see the purple grease right there that I made up for Teresa and Tim in Thorpe, Wisconsin. And again, I invited all the leaders that are part of the moderating team to pick their color of choice. And I'm still waiting on some of those leaders to give me their color. I'm still waiting on some of the leaders to give me their color. So green is taken. Green is Candido and Rachel out in New York. And interestingly, this customer, Sibel, is from New York as well. I think she's from the Brooklyn area. She's from the Brooklyn, in that neck of the woods, I want to say. And then we've got the purple grease that belongs to Tim and Teresa. They picked purple. We've got the blue grease. I think it was blue grease that Susie picked. So if you're one of the leaders, in the live chat right now in the live stream, or you watch this later, I'm guilting you, guilt. Ha! I'm guilting you and saying, hey, come on, circle back. Let me know what color you love. And I don't have every color under the rainbow, but give me your color. I'll do my best to mix it up. And then you'll have your own specific grease for the cow country family. And I share this, like you can see, I'm sharing this with Emma down in Florida. I still need Emma's color, but I think Emma picked the same color. I don't remember. Emma may pick the same color as Teresa and Tim, but it's already taken. So we'll have to get a different color for Emma. Maybe she'll go with traditional pink or something like that. But yeah. Oh, also, I didn't show you. I also sent Emma, let me see if I can enlarge it. I showed on a reel recently on Facebook. I showed a reel, and I was talking about the fact that, like I always say, that's a huge light bulb right there. You can see it. One of the things that since I established this YouTube channel in 2009 until today, the feedback that I get all the time is, Scott, we love the channel. We love you. We love the Cow Country family because you guys are real. You don't edit things. You don't cover up mistakes. You don't make things look like they go perfect every single time, because that's just not real world life. And so I was talking about the fact that I'm sometimes a teacher, but I'm always a student. So I'm wanting to order another LED bulb for Jane's machine before I ship it back to Emma. And I look at the seller on eBay, and I look at the pictures, and I look at the description. And so I order the LED bulb, expecting to get something like this, but with an E12 type base, And instead of getting something like this that would work in a sewing machine, I get this thing in the mail. And if you can't tell how big it is, it's probably 6 to 8 inches long. 6 to 8 inches long. And so I joked with Emma. I said, I think it would make you smile, and it would be a great way of reminding ourselves that we're sometimes teachers, we're always students. It'll make you get a little giggle. So I ended up mailing, I packed up Jane's machine yesterday. I ended up mailing this huge E12 light bulb back to Emma, so Emma can decide what she wants to do with it or share it with Jane for fun. But you know, isn't that the reality of a great channel like our channel here? Is that we admit that we're still learning. We're not like some of the groups on Facebook or Etsy or Pinterest where they've got leaders or group directors or whatever that are always trying to present themselves as know-it-alls. They've got all the answers. Well, we don't have all the answers here, but guess what? As we come together as a family, we figure a lot more things out together, don't we? And the other thing that's changed over the years since this channel was established in 2009 is, for the first 10 years, if you can imagine, for the first 10 years, I did not have the blessing of a leadership team. I was doing everything by myself, everything. I was shooting the video, the cameras, I was uploading, I was maintaining the YouTube channel once it was established in 2009. I was doing promotions, I was doing blah, 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 everything under the sun. It wasn't until Bill O'Rourke, most of you know Bill O'Rourke from Florida, from Kissimmee, Florida. Bill was my very first moderator. Bill was the very first moderator about 5 to 6 years ago. And since then, we've had a number of great moderators on our team. We had our beloved Sonny that passed away. We had Paula Noel. We had Olga from Paris, France. We had Hans from Norway. We have all of our current leadership team members as well now. And what a difference that's made. And I'm absolutely convinced it's because of the dynamic of all of you in the audience interacting with newcomers and creating that excitement about what we're doing, that we started out averaging about 200,000. What was my number? 200,000 visitors to the channel per year. And now we're doing almost 200,000 visitors to the channel every month. And it's because they get to know Emma, they get to know Susie, they get to know Teresa and Tim and Jenny, they get to know Candido, they get to know Bill O'Rourke whenever Bill's able to make the live streams. And they get to know Michelle. Michelle was at the last live stream, which was a real big treat because she's had some family things that she's been managing for a number of years now. But all of you are contributing now to our success of getting the word out more about vintage sewing machines, like this one that's in the box right here. So with all of that blah, 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 let me move finally. All of you are saying, let's move finally so I can give you some clues on what's in this box. And you can begin to guess. You can begin to guess what this seller from New Jersey shipped to Minnesota on behalf of Sibel from the Brooklyn, New York area. Brooklyn, New York. All right, let me give you some clues. Okay, so this machine in here was built from 1958 until 1960. 1958 to 1960, this machine was built. It is in dimensions approximately 16.5 inches long, 7 inches wide. So just make a note of all these clues. Okay? Make a note of all these clues. Built from 1958 to 1960. It is 16.5 inches long and 7 inches wide. It came in two colors, tan and cream. During its production time from 1958 to 1960, there were approximately 400,000 of these made. Approximately 400,000 of these machines made. Okay? Let me give you a huge clue to really help you out. This particular machine had a super cool innovation. Super cool. That's a great guess, Aaron. Aaron Allen from Vermont. Aaron Allen from Vermont is a genius. One of the smartest gals I've ever talked to. Talked to her on the phone. We've known each other for a number of years, and I've had the privilege and honor of doing a number of machines for Aaron Allen from Vermont. And let me just say, she's a real smart gal, but she's wrong. Ha! She's wrong, but she's in the right neck of the woods. And let me tell you something. Take Aaron Allen's guess of a 301A and know that the machine that's in this box, this really, really flimsy box, this super flimsy box. Know that the machine that's in this super flimsy box actually replaced the 301 and 301A. The 301 and 301A were replaced by the machine that Sibel from Brooklyn, New York purchased through this seller in New Jersey. Now, here's the other thing. We got some really good guesses popping on the screen. We've got some really, 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 really good guesses. Really good guesses. Oh my gosh. Look at what Al Koss wrote. Look at what Alex wrote from California. Look at what Sarah wrote. Sarah wrote from where is Sarah from? Sarah told us where she's from. Doggone it. Is she from Montana? Is Sarah from Montana? Where am I? I just clicked the wrong button. My whole screen went dark. Ah! Oh my goodness. No, Sarah's from King, North Carolina. Sarah is from King, North Carolina. That's right. I apologize. King, North Carolina. So both Alex and Sarah are onto something. And as you look at all of the machine guesses so far, you look at Aaron's guess, you look at Sarah's guess, you look at Alex's guess, All of them are from a very unique series of machines that Singer put out that have a slant needle. They were part of that Slant-O-Matic series, remember? And the Slant-O-Matic series started with the 301, didn't it? Does anyone remember when the 301 was introduced? And there were a number of other machines in that series as well. The 301, the 301A, the 401A, there's just a ton of different Slant-O-Matics, right? And then Candido just typed in the 329K. Another great guess. Well, I can tell you this, that out of the guesses that are on the screen right now, one person got it right, but I'm not going to tell you who it is yet because we got to still unbox this machine. But based on what I'm feeling, it's only going to take us like about 2 minutes to unbox it, if that. It's only going to take us about 2 minutes, maybe less. All right, let's take a look at this box a little bit closer, and I'll show you kind of what my concern is. So arriving at the workshop, you can see the bottom is actually coming apart. They used like a duct tape, and duct tape doesn't always stick to cardboard real well. So the bottom of the box is literally opened up here. You can see it right there. And the machine, when you pick it up, the machine, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the shot, but the machine is actually bowing. It's actually bowing through the bottom of the box. You see it right there pressing against the seam that's splitting open. So definitely not a stellar example of how to pack a vintage sewing machine for sure. Got some really, really serious feedback for this gentleman from New Jersey. His first name is Danny. So I'm guessing Danny is going to see this live stream as a video later. I'm sure that Sibel's going to share it with him and give him some feedback on his packing method of vintage sewing machines, because it's really, really pretty horrible. You see here the box is kind of collapsing in as well. Yeah, this end almost came off completely as well. Duct tape is kind of separating from the box. Yeah, one little pull right here. There's a little bit of Amazon tape there, but not much. A little bit of a pull there. And we've got the whole bottom of the box flapping open like this. I can guarantee that when Emma gets Gracie back, Jane's machine, it's not going to look anything like this. That's for darn sure. Not going to look anything like this. But I'll tell you one thing. I didn't always pack exactly the way I pack now. Does anyone remember when I was first establishing Cow Country back in 2009, and I initiated this YouTube channel a few days before Christmas in 2009? How was I shipping sewing machines back then? Does anyone remember? I've shared this with you before. I wasn't using the plastic totes. I was using another method of shipping vintage sewing machines all around the world. As a matter of fact, I sent one to Japan around 2010 to an Air Force service member that wanted to restore a car. It was a Swedish beauty, but I didn't ship it to Japan in a tote. I shipped it in another type of container. Does anyone remember what it was? What kind of containers was I using back in from around 2009 until probably almost 2014? Maybe a little bit later than that. How was I shipping sewing machines back then? Come on, you guys. You guys know this. You know this. I've shared this before. Susie nailed it. I was using suitcases. I'm not making that up. I was literally buying suitcases dirt cheap at Goodwill, St. Vincent de Paul, and other places like that. The average cost was around $3 to $5 for these hard case type suitcases like the Samsonite. And then I would carefully bubble wrap and pack the machine real tight, fill the suitcase with packing peanuts, and then I would ship the suitcase through USPS all around the world. And eventually I ran out of options to buy suitcases, and I thought, oh man, I need to come up with something different. And I started moving towards totes at that time around 2014, 2015. But a lot of people now that celebrate getting a tote, back then they were getting a suitcase. So I might have supported them in going on family vacations or little business trips or who knows what through the suitcase method I was using. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, luggage, exactly. Shipping luggage all over the place, all over the place. It was a hoot. All right. Yeah, some great guesses. Somebody else typed a 403. No one typed in a 500A or say a Rocketeer, based on the clues I gave you at least. And again, someone already typed in the correct answer. Someone already typed the correct answer in. See if there's anything else I can share with you. So again, this machine replaced the 301 301A. It was made, let me give you one more clue, and then you can all know that you got the answer right. It was made in New Jersey when the Anderson, South Carolina plant closed. It was made in New Jersey, the same place this machine was shipped from, when the Anderson, South Carolina plant closed. So, and again, they made about 400,000 of these. And this machine was made by Singer to replace the 301 and 301A. 301, 301A. All right, let's see what we have in the box, because we still have a machine to present today as well. I should just open it up from the bottom. I've already got the bottom open, but I'll open it up from this side. I'll open it up from this side. Trying to check the camera shot. I think you can see everything. Oh boy. Oh boy. So our packing method has been modified to a little bit of newspaper. A little bit of newspaper is what we're seeing inside of the box so far. What do I have over here? I see a cord. I've got a cord kind of floating in the box. I've got a plastic bag. I don't know why the plastic bag is here. Got a plastic bag. Top New Jersey Pizza Bowl finalists selected. This is exciting. USA Today, the countdown to Pizza Bowl has officially begun after more than 10,000 votes came in from the 91,000 member Facebook page. Jersey pizza joints, the top pizzerias have been selected, blah, blah, blah. What else do we have? Does anyone need a coupon? I've got some coupons here. 79 cents if you want to buy some papayas. What else do I have? Hold on. 88 cents for a can of green giant vegetables. If anybody needs some vegetables, let me know. I'll send you this. You might be able to save some money. What else do we have? Yeah, I don't recommend using this as your primary packing method, newspaper. I just don't. Yeah. And that's it. I'm going to tell you this, that the extent of the packing by this seller on eBay, again, his name is Danny. Where's Danny? Danny's over here, maybe. There's Danny. There's Danny right there. Danny from Elmwood Park, New Jersey. Does our friend that's in Kings, North Carolina, anyone that's close to New Jersey, does anyone know where Elmwood Park, New Jersey is? Have you ever been there? Elmwood Park, New Jersey? That's where our seller is from, Danny. And Danny used his Sunday newspaper to pack this vintage sewing machine. That's it. There's no other packing in here other than this plastic bag. That's the machine. That's the machine right there. There's the balance wheel. And underneath it, there's a layer of about this much newspaper. underneath the machine. It's laid on its side. So, wow. Packing is just taking a new low. Packing is just taking a brand new low for sure. All right, let's get this out of here and take a look at it. Newspaper, 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 newspaper. Now I believe it was Alex Alcos. I believe it was Alex that got the correct answer. I'm going to show you the machine now, and then you'll probably recognize it almost right away. Almost right away. Now, the thing that kind of bothers me a little bit is, well, a lot of things. Where did the plate go? Are we missing a plate? It probably came off, didn't it? It probably came off in the shipping. So what do you all think of this packing? Give it a score of 1 to 10. Give this a packing score of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. Where would you rate the packing of this 404? This 404 machine. What do you think? Hopefully the plate's in there somewhere, huh? Foot controllers are delicate, aren't they? Foot controllers are delicate, and we've got no packing around the foot controller at all. In fact, the foot controller is tucked in the harp space, so it's banging against the glass on the light assembly, and it's banging against all the other parts of the machine in this little space right here. As the machine is traveling from New Jersey all the way to Minnesota. It's traveling from New Jersey all the way to Minnesota. The foot controller is bouncing around inside of here and ricocheting off the bed, the glass light assembly, and everything else in between. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a horrible, horrible packing job. Yeah, again, I would go ahead and rate it. Give me a rating on 1 to 10 on this packing job. Tell me what you think. One to 10, how would you rate the packing job? Jiminy crickets. Let me set this right here for a second. I'll get this box out of the way. I will check through all the newspaper, but I think we're missing a plate. Oh, nope. Look what else I found floating around in the box. Gives you an idea of how hard this machine was getting bounced around. Does anyone know what part of the machine that is? What part of the machine is this? I'll bring the over by the light. It's actually not the hook. It's actually the bobbin case. This is actually a very rusty bobbin case that goes over the hook system. I've shown this to you before on live stream. It sits on top of the hook system that rotates underneath it, and this is stationary. But this should be mounted into the raceway area, and it's a good thing that I spent a little bit of time digging through the newspaper, because we might find other machine parts in there as well. We might find additional machine parts. What a crummy packing job. I'll tell you, I would give the guy a 1. I think maybe a 1 is too high. I think a 1 is too high. I'm going to set that over there. Hopefully you can find a plate too. A slide plate that goes over the machine. I'm hoping we can find that. I don't see a slide plate. We'll lift up the flaps on the bottom as well. I'll check the rest of that newspaper just to make sure I didn't miss it. And Sibel will probably be able to tell me whether or not in the pictures on eBay, it was missing the slide plate, which might be the case. Well, let's get this machine up here and just kind of take a little bit of a look at it. So congratulations to Alex Alcas. Congratulations to Alex. Alex got the correct answer. The 404, which is a straight stitch only machine. And you might remember the 404 when we did the fundraiser for the History Museum in South Bend, Indiana. And I gave away all those Slant-O-Matics. Remember that? If you're really new to us, you don't have a clue what I'm talking about. We did a fundraiser for a history museum right in the middle of the pandemic about 2-3 years ago to help them out because they were facing closure like a lot of museums across the country. And in order to boost the donations to benefit the History Museum in Indiana, I donated several different Slant-O-Matic machines. One of them was a 404, and our good friend that passed away, Sunny, and her fiance, Craig, ended up making a donation to help out the fundraiser, and they ended up getting a 404 from the workshop. And there were a number of other folks that won other Slant-O-Matics as well. In fact, I still owe Emma, Emma, what do I owe you? What was it, a 5? I'm trying to remember what series it is. 50, I can't remember. Emma will type it in the live chat. But yeah, the 404 was really quite an innovation. I cannot get this plug out. What's going on? There we go. Oh, I see why. You may not be able to see it in the camera, but it's got oxidation that literally is created like a fusing on it. See that green in there? Can you see the green? I don't know if you can see the green or not. I think Emma's explained this before, being a scientist. She said it's like an iron oxide, right, Emma? It's like an iron oxide. I think it's a 503A that Emma got from that same fundraiser. But this stuff literally acts like cement. Literally acts like cement. Literally acts like cement. Yeah, I'm kind of nervous to even start this thing up, to be honest with you. But we got to start it up. You know we do. We got to fire this up. I think it's a 503, Emma. I think I'd have to check. It's been a while, yeah. It's been a couple of years, actually. It's been a couple of years. I think it's a 503A. 503A. All right, I'm going to plug this back in, see if we can fire it up. Take a little bit closer look at the machine. You can kind of check her out. And one of the great developments when the 301s, 301As came out and the later models is they developed an option that was different than dropping the feed dogs. They gave us an option of raising the throat plate. This, I don't know if this one will raise or not. Let's see. Now it's damaged or jammed. This won't move. Yeah, it's not working. This is supposed to slide over and push this throat plate up, but it's not going anywhere right now. Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. What size belt does this machine take? What size belt does this machine take? Does anyone know what size belt this 404 takes? If you don't know about the 404, what about the 403 or the 401A? What size belts do they take? What size belt? No, it's actually not how the plate is put on, Sarah, but that's a good observation. Sarah was saying it's not working because the throat plate is put on wrong. The throat plate was put on correctly. It was like this. It was like this, but we have one of our pedestal risers that's on this side actually broken off. See that? It's actually missing. And all of you that picked up on my playful question of what kind of belt, and you're like, wait a second, it doesn't have a belt. You're correct. Yeah, the gear to gear drive. These are positive traction slant-o-matic machines. So you've got an output gear off of the motor that combines with the lacing gear on the balance wheel, and there's no belt involved whatsoever. There's no belt at all on the machine. So this is actually snapped off right there. You can see that right there. This side is intact. This side, the riser is actually missing, and or it's totally knocked out of alignment. See that? If I'm able to get underneath there, maybe it's been knocked out of alignment and I'm able to tap it back over. But right now, in the current position, it's jammed so that these can't go up and down. These can't go up and down right now. There's actually a mechanism on the bottom that slides over to push them up so that you can have the equivalent of the feed dog drop. But right now, this one is seriously damaged. Seriously damaged right there. So, yeah, a lot of things going on with this machine, right? A lot of things that are not happy about it. So, all right. I'll plug it in and see if we get smoke, fire, or anything else exciting. You never know, right? Just curious if we find anything in the bottom. Maybe we'll have like a rabbit or a squirrel jump out of here or something. That'd be cool, huh? A rabbit or a squirrel. So this is our little, I'll just show you on the bottom here. This is the sliding mechanism right here. That when you move that that little lever on top that's frozen right now, this slides between here and goes across and then pushes up the throat plate so you can do free motion quilting and freehand embroidery. This is all rusted down here. I don't know if you can see the rust or not. So this machine was obviously stored in a
in a damp place. How is the those of you that live on the East Coast? How is the humidity? How is the humidity in New Jersey compared to say New York or the Carolinas? What's the humidity look like in the New Jersey area? Yeah, we might need parts. We might need parts, Sarah. We might need parts for sure. We might need parts. Sibel might need we might need to find a parts machine. I've got a couple of 404s in storage, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to get to them. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get to those machines in storage very easily. So yeah, I don't know. This machine looks like it's had a very difficult life, doesn't it? Although the rubber feet on the bottom are almost serviceable. I ended up replacing the rubber feet on Emma's friend's Jane's machine just before I packed it up. Now, how is the 404 different from the 301 and 301A that it replaced? How is the 404 different from the 301, 301A that it replaced? What about the hook system? Does the 301, 301A have the same hook system as the 404? What do you think? Do they take the same kind of bobbin? Do they have the same type of top loading bobbin? Yeah, top loading bobbin goes in this bobbin case that we found in the box. And it's going to take a bobbin like this, class 66 bobbin. What kind of bobbin does the 301, 301A take? What does the 301, 301A take as far as a bobbin, and what kind of hook system does that have? Again, this machine took over. It replaced the 301, 301A. So it's kind of good if you know the history of the different machines and what machine took over for the other. Kind of like when we talk about the 201, the 201 -2 took over for the class 66 model. We all know that. So we know that this model took over for the 301, 301A. What kind of a hook system does that 301, 301A have? And does it also take a class 66 bobbin like this 404? What do y'all think? Okay. So Emma is saying the 301, 301A are going to take the same bobbin as a featherweight. And that might explain why a number of years ago I started calling the 301, 301A the big sister to the featherweight, didn't I? Y'all remember that? I started calling the 301, 301A the big sister to the featherweight. It not only takes the same bobbin, but it also takes the same bobbin case. So if you own a 301 or a 301A and a featherweight, you can swap the bobbins and the bobbin cases back and forth between those machines. No problem at all. Emma's saying it's the 301, 301A is a rotary machine. That's correct. But more specifically, it's not just a rotary machine, because this 404 is also a rotary hook system. The 404 is a rotary hook system. The 301, 301A is a rotary hook system, but it's mounted differently. So here we have a horizontal rotary hook system. On the 301 and 301A, we have a vertical rotary hook system, don't we? So the alignment of the hook system on the big sister to the featherweight, the 301 to 301A, is positioned like this. And on the Slant-O-Matic series machines that take that 66 bobbin are going to go like this, horizontally. And there are some people, yeah, side loading is right, Alex, absolutely. There are some people that argue that a vertical rotary hook system is going to produce a better stitch. than a horizontal rotary hook system. Has anyone else heard that? Because there's been a lot of writing in blogs and other places on the internet about a vertical rotary hook system producing a finer stitch, a better stitch than a horizontal rotary hook system. What do y'all think? Is that true or false? Is that true or false? What do you think? Alex has heard it as well. So we've heard it. Is it true or not? Any of you that own any of the Slant-O-Matic series machines? Any of you that own a featherweight? We already know the featherweight people are real braggadocious. The featherweight people are very braggadocious about their machines producing the perfect stitch. And we already know there's no such thing as a perfect stitch, right? We already know that. But they keep saying it. It's sad to say I have two featherweights, one 301, two 404s, and two 401As. That's not sad. That's wonderful, Sarah. Everybody in the live chat and in this live stream right now is saying, I wish I had all those machines. Ah! Hopefully they're all functional too. Oh, Sarah. Somebody throw Sarah in a timeout. Ha! Somebody throw Sarah in a timeout. She's saying that her featherweight has a perfect stitch. Ha! They you know what? They stitch well. They stitch really well, but let's just face it. I've shown you over 1,000 videos over 15 years, and I've said it from the very beginning. There's no such thing as a perfect stitch. There's no such thing as a perfect stitch. You can have a gorgeous drop dead, are you kidding me? Wow, stitch. It can be page 34 plus, but there's always ways to improve it. There's always ways to improve that stitch. So I would take issue with anyone, including Sarah, saying that they have a machine that sews a perfect stitch. There's always ways to improve it. And if Sarah sent me pictures of various stitching that her featherweight did, I'll bet you I would be able to find fault in that stitch. Either in the spacing, the formation, the presentation of the stitch, the alignment of the stitch. I would be able to find some sort of fault in it. Billy from Kissimmee, Florida, come on down. You are the next contestant on The Price is Right. Ha! I bet you they have beautiful stitches, Sarah, but they're not perfect, dear. They're not perfect. But you know what is perfect? My buddy Bill from Kissimmee, Florida. Bill is perfect. Yes, he is. So if you want to see perfection, go to Bill's channel and check him out because he's an awesome guy. Great to have Bill here. Yes. All right. So let's fire this up and see what happens. This could be very exciting. All right, I've got it plugged in. I'm not getting any light. Could be that there's no bulb in there, but I'm not getting any light from it. All right, let's fire it up and see what happens. Nothing. Ah! So we might have a bad cord, right? We might have a bad cord. How can we do a bypass? Assuming that maybe the foot controller that was not padded in any way was bouncing around inside of the box all the way from New Jersey to Minnesota. Or maybe there's a break in the wire somewhere, but we're not getting any response. Let me actually check. Check this to see if we're getting electricity down to the foot controller. So we're not getting any. The reason the machine isn't firing up is we're not getting any electricity down to the foot controller. See, it's not responding in any way. So the motor's not going to fire up if the foot controller can't engage it and complete that circuit. So right now we've got either a faulty foot controller, we've got a broken wire somewhere along here, or remember when we took that out and it was all corroded? It was heavily corroded, right? See, we're getting electricity down here at the actual cord. So we're getting electricity in the cord coming out of the plug-in, but it's not getting all the way down to the foot controller. That would lead me to believe that we've got either a faulty wire or a faulty foot controller. See if I can unplug this real quick. Oh, there we go. Look at the light just came on. So we've got something, we either have a break right here, which is very common because this is the flex point, or remember I showed you all that buildup oxide on the connections, where the connections are so filthy that we're not getting an even connection on the machine either. So now let's try see if we can fire up the motor now that we have a good connection, at least temporarily. We'll push this down. Well, part of our problem is the stop action is not engaged all the way. That's why it's spinning a lot. So the good news, at least we have a working motor. We've got a foot controller that's working, but we have so many other things going on with this 404 that was shipped from New Jersey, don't we? Lots of things going on with this machine right now. Yeah, half of the battle is always getting it to start up, isn't it? Half of the battle is always getting it to start up. At least that's the starting point. Kind of like gentlemen, start your engine, but now they're saying gentlemen and ladies, start your engine, aren't they? Hey, Michelle, good to see you. We've got Michelle from Minnesota. Michelle from Minnesota, that's Avant-Garde 78. Avant-Garde 78. Yeah. Avant-Garde 78. I'm going to click on Bill's link. I have no idea what that is. Let's see what that is. Hold on a second. Oh, that's Bill's page. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, so if you're in this live stream right now, let me see if I've got the camera lined up right. If you're in this live stream right now, you probably can't even see that because my screen is real goofy. Hold on a second. But follow that link. Follow that link to Bill's YouTube page if you'd be so kind. Follow that to Bill's YouTube channel and click subscribe. Click subscribe and keep an eye on what Bill's doing with his YouTube channel. I'm going to click subscribe right now. There we go. That was easy. Yeah, do that. I'm glad Bill shared that link. That's super cool. All right. Let's see here. All right. So let me get this 404 out of the way. Again, my feedback to Danny, old Danny boy from New Jersey that sold this machine to Sibel from the Bronx, New York, and shipped it to the temporary workshop here in the Twin Cities is Danny from New Jersey. You need to go back to school on how to pack a vintage sewing machine. We're only seeing a little bit of the condition of the machine. There's probably a lot more damage inside that I haven't even found yet because it was packed so poorly. Newspaper is not the ideal packing cushion for a vintage sewing machine, not even close to ideal. So more news on this once I start to get into this machine, and it won't be for a little while, but once I get into this machine, we'll see what we can figure out and see if we can get this machine back to greatness again. All right, let me get this out of the way. All right, let me move this other machine down now. See if I can get her moved all the way down. I'm going to put on a little bit of polka music real quick. A little bit of polka music while I'm getting this machine set up, and then we'll learn a little bit more about this machine that belongs to Zoe, Z-O-E, and Zoe is from the Twin Cities. Zoe is from the Twin Cities. All right, I'm looking for some music to put on. Here we go. All right, I'm going to pause real quick. Okay, so the machine that we're going to look at today was not made in the United States. Does anyone want to venture a guess as to where this Singer machine was made? Where was this Singer machine made? I'll show you the front of it. Kind of rotate the machine just a little bit. So where do you think this machine was made? Take a look at the front of that machine there. You have any guesses as to where it was made? Type it into the live chat. And I'll give you some inspirational music to get your thinker working. If your thinker is still running on Saturday time, this will help. Italy's a great guess, but it was not Italy. Great guess. Only Shirley has guessed so far. Come on, guys. I didn't know if you guys are popping popcorn or out at a restaurant or. And Shirley's the only one that's even tossed a guess out there so far. Shirley's out there by herself. Come on, family. Come on, family. Help her out. She's guessed Italy, the land of Neki. She's guessed Japan, the land of lots of different sewing machines. Lots of different sewing machines, including Juki. But it's neither of those countries. It was made in another country other than the United States. Bill O'Rourke from Kissimmee, Florida, just nailed it. Bill O'Rourke from Kissimmee, Florida, just nailed it. It was made in Brazil. It's a Brazilian Singer sewing machine, and that's why the manufacturing plant number that would be associated with this model is the letter C. So it's not Canada. It's not Canada. It's not Italy. It's not Japan. In fact, as Bill said, it is Brazil. It's a Brazilian sewing machine. Why Brazil? Because Singer had manufacturing plants all around the world. And when they made different sewing machines, they would produce different models at different locations at different times. Yeah, they would make different machines at different places at different times, just like the plant in France that ended up burning down. They made all kinds of cool Singer sewing machines over in France. And I don't remember if I still have the manufacturing plant breakout, but I did it one time. I'll have to search around and see if I can find that. But there is a source online where you can look at all the different letter designations for the Singer plants, something as basic as an A, which stands for Anderson, South Carolina, to a C that stands for a machine that was made in Brazil. But there's all different letter designations for machines. Some are 2 letters, some are 1 letter. And there's a summary on the internet somewhere. I've got it saved. In the workshop. I think I printed it out at one time. Okay. What size motor does this machine have? We know now because of Bill's guess that it was made in Brazil. What size motor does this 6215C have inside of it? What do y'all think? What size motor? What size motor do we have in this machine? Bill wants snow. Should mail him some snow. Everybody get together and we'll mail Bill some snow if we ever get any in the Twin Cities area, that is. Surely watch the Scotland video, right? Our tour of the Scotland plant. And what a beautiful facility that was in the day. What a beautiful facility. Well, good to know. Sarah's going to go fold laundry. If anyone wants to help Sarah fold her laundry, raise your hand and we'll dispatch you to that neck of the woods real quick. You guys are. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop asking all of you questions because you're in so many different directions today. You're in so many different directions today. My questions are just falling mute. No one in the audience took a guess at the size of the motor on this machine. So I'm just going to tell you, it's 0.75 amps. 0.75 amps. I'm going to do an audio check real quick. Wait, did Bill guess? No, Bill, it's not 350 horsepower. I thought you were talking about a car, man. You're talking about this being a 350, what, like a 350 rocket engine like they used to put in the Oldsmobile Cutlass Supremes? That was a great motor in that car. A great motor. All right, I'm just going to put this machine to work, and then we're going to wrap up this live stream. Because other than Bill guessing that it was a 6-cylinder, 350 horsepower Chevy straight six with a blower for this Brazilian Singer sewing machine, this model 6215C, no one in the audience took a swing at what size motor. Now, Melissa just popped in. Melissa just popped in and said 0.7. She was really close. It's 0.75. So it's got a meaty little motor, doesn't it? It's got a meaty little motor. So let me show you what we're going to be trying to sew off on this Brazilian Singer 6215C today. Let me show you what we're going to be sewing off. I'm going to rotate the machine back now. And we had talked about in the unboxing process, looking at that Singer 404 that was so poorly packed. We were talking about the bobbin that machine would take being a class 66 bobbin, just like this one. And that's exactly the kind of bobbin we have in this Brazilian 6215C. It's none other than a class 66 bobbin. And they don't hold quite as much thread as the class 15. So we'll see how we do as far as the sew offs. We might end up having to rewind a bobbin. That's why I've got this bobbin out already. But we might make it to the end without rewinding it. We'll see. All right, let me pull this out. I'll give you kind of a vision of the sew off that I did. After all the adjustments were made on the machine, you can get an idea of some of the stitching that this machine can do. Yeah, there we go. Tilt it that way, maybe. Bring the camera up. Here's some of the stitching that this machine can do. We'll be duplicating some of this stitching today on a variety of different materials. And if you all stay awake, and get involved in the live chat like Bill and Melissa and others, then you'll be able to give a voice. You'll be able to give a voice as far as what materials we sew and what stitches we put down on those materials. If you don't give any input, then I'm just going to pick myself, and that's fine. I'll just pick it myself. So the choices we have, a lot of them you've seen before. I'm just going to show them to you real quick. We've got this fake fleece material that's 100% polyester. We've got this outdoor material that really was a lot of, it was a big challenge, but it was also a great learning lesson at the last live stream that I did, where we were able to see that we had certain struggle points and we were able to zero in on what needed to be done. It was not a matter of the thread coming out of the bobbin case, as Susie had originally thought, but that was a great guess. It was not a matter of adjusting presser foot pressure. It was a matter of slowing the machine down and also adjusting the tension factor on it, because this is a really tightly woven, almost like a Kevlar material used for outdoor use, and it's a heck of a thing to try to stitch on it. We're going to give it a try again today, see how we do. Then I've got this 100% nylon material. It's made to look like a translucent type ribbon material. Got 3 layers of that. We've got 100% cotton with quilt batting. We've got genuine cowhide. We've got this vinyl material that Emma sent from Florida that we sewed on Gracie, that 328K. That would have been made in Kilbowie, Scotland. I think it was Shirley that was just talking about watching that video that I posted on the main page for Cow Country, and she was just emotional when she watched it because it's just such a beautiful thing to watch the process that they had and the attention to detail that they had as well. So we'll be trying some of this as well. We've got some of this satin material with just a real thin layer of stiffener in between. And this satin was also sent with Gracie. Got some extra stuff that I'm using now. Got some of this canvas material, I believe it is, also that Emma sent with Gracie, the 328K. Got some of this outdoor carpeting that I've sewn on before. We might give this a try today. I believe this is upholstery material also that Emma sent. See if we can't try that today. Some heavy grade denim. And last but not least, some Amazon Prime packing parchment paper. I've never tried sewing on newspaper before, but with all the newspaper that this Danny guy from New Jersey packed that 404 with, which I think was a huge mistake. Again, it really doesn't do anything to protect the machine. Might be fun for us at some point to do some stitching on newspaper also, because that's going to be real similar to a parchment type paper, isn't it? Real similar. So these are our sew off options, and then I'll show you the different stitches we have. I'm actually going to go to the book and see if I can call them by the correct name. Let's see. Go to the stitch option, see if it gives me the stitch names. Oh, where is it? Stitches, stitches, stitches. I think it was in the book. I thought it was in the book. Maybe I'm going too fast through it. Let me try this. Looking to see if they might have the different stitches highlighted in here. Hopefully they do. Check the glossary and the index, and I didn't see anything specifically highlighted. Yeah, we got these flexi stitches. They're calling these flexi stitches 3, 5, 7, and 9. But I don't see, let's see if they give the names. Balancing flexi stitches, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, some of the manuals are really good about that, especially the Swedish manuals will tell you exactly what the stitches are called. Not that we always use the name that they call them by. We sometimes make up our own names. But I'm not finding anything in the manual that gives the specific stitch names. So some of you that feel like you are experts, in identifying the stitch names and or knowing the stitch names, you can jump into the live chat and share your knowledge on what you would call these particular stitches. And I'll show you the stitches now so you can see what we're going to be sewing. And some of these, the manual is calling flexi stitches. Flexi stitches. So we've got a buttonhole. We've got a straight stitch. We've got a reinforced straight stitch that we can do as well. We've got a zigzag. We've got this one here. What is it called? A tic-tac or a ricky-tac or something like that? Blind hem. We've got this one here that I sometimes refer to as a combing stitch, but I'm sure it has a different name. 3-point zigzag. And then we also have this one here. It's kind of like a harvest stitch almost, isn't it? But a good little selection of stitches. So I'm going to invite all of you in the audience, if you want to pick the stitch, you want to pick the type of stitch, and the material you want to sew it on. I'll try to do that. I'll try to honor that as best as I can. And then when we do some of these ones that are in red, like number 3, number 5, number 7, number 9, these are called the flexi stitches. And some of them have to be adjusted a little bit when you sew them, depending on the material you're using, the thread, etc. And that's what this is for right here. As you push this to the left, it's going to make that pattern a little bit shorter, a little bit tighter. As you move this to the right, it's going to elongate that pattern a little bit more. So this is going to be our fine tuner for adjusting some of these flex stitches, like number 3, number 5, number 7, and number 9. So just make a note of the stitches. We basically have 1 through 9, minus the 1, because I'm not going to do a buttonhole. Ha! Nope. So 2 through 9, I might as well say 2 through 9. You can pick your stitch, you can pick your material, and I will try to sew it during the live stream for you. And then also we've got this control right here. This is going to do a couple of things. It's going to give us the 3-stage buttonhole. You can see that over here. It's going to give us the flex stitch setting, which is this little red dot right here. It's also going to give us stitch length. And then it's also going to give us reverse as well. Also going to give us reverse function. Then we've got needle position right here. And then we've got preset widths as far as the zigzag. So we can use this width setting for, we can not just zigzag, but we can really use it for any of the stitches that have needle swing when we're looking to sew those. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward machine. It's got a different way of disengaging the clutch. Instead of an auto process like on the Swedish machines where we slide a bobbin on, this one is going to have a plunger approach that you push in, and that disengages the clutch. And then when you want to resume sewing, you push it back again, and then that main shaft is engaged again. Yeah. And you can see this machine at one time was professionally reconditioned. So, you know, sometimes machines will have issues early on. Customers will get them. They don't work properly. They're sent back to the factory. And then they go through a regimen at the factory of reconditioning the machines again. And then they sell them again, but they put this little label on there so someone buying them knows that it's not brand spanking new, that it's been reconditioned at the factory. And it's got a different warranty as well. You can see that that somewhere when this machine originally was resold, it had an extra little pamphlet talking about what warranty they were going to give the machine after it was reconditioned. Whether it was 90 days or 6 months or 2 years, if anyone wants to try to research that, go ahead and do that. You can share it in the live chat with us. Now we obviously have our on-off switch right here. Nomenclature plate, and that's about it. Pretty simple, straightforward machine. And the only thing you'll notice is that we do not have a way to adjust presser foot pressure. Even when you take off this cover, there's no clear way to adjust the presser foot pressure. It's going to be an automated process. It's going to adjust itself depending on the resistance as that material is going underneath the presser foot, either increasing it or decreasing it. I don't think that that's the best method. I like to have control over the presser foot pressure, but with this 6215C made in Brazil, they decided they wanted to take away that factor. And let's just face it, there's a lot of people today, maybe even some in this live stream right now, that don't have a clue if they can adjust presser foot pressure on their machines or how to do it. I've experienced that many, many times in conversations with people that have been sewists for decades, and they don't understand presser foot pressure or how to adjust it. They don't understand tension adjustment. A lot of these things have just escaped them. And it's sometimes because before getting a traditional vintage machine, they've had these machines where a lot of these choices are taken away. A lot of these choices are automated by the machine design. So is that good or bad? I'll let you decide. I'll let you decide. I'm not a fan of it, but some of you might be a fan of the easier, the better. The less I have to remember, the better. The less I have to know, the better. Some of you are from the other side of the camp. So there you go. All right. So we've got a couple of inputs. We've got Bill saying do number 9 on denim. We've got Shirley saying do number 5 on denim. So why don't we do both? Let me grab the denim. We'll start out with the denim, and then we'll move through some of these other materials and see what we think. See what we think. And I've got 2 layers of denim. I could go a lot thicker, but I think for our purposes, we'll just start with 2 layers and buzz down with some of these fancy type stitches that are considered also to be flex stitches. From the Singer website, refurbished warranty is 90 days. So Susie looked this up, and assuming that it was the same when this machine was produced, sometimes they're a little bit more ambitious. And when they're trying to get rid of those refurbished machines, because a lot of people are like, I don't want refurbished, I want new. I don't want something that's been used by somebody else. I want something brand new out of the box. Back in the day, when this machine would have been produced, perhaps the warranty was longer than 90 days. Perhaps not. But I appreciate Susie looking that up for sure. All right, so let's try to do some of these flex stitches. Number 5, number 9. Number 5, number 9. Let's try to do this. So let me show you how to set them first of all. Adjust the camera a little bit. Show you how to set these. It's not tricky, but it takes just a little bit of extra effort. All right. Number 1, the first thing we have to do when we're going to do one of these flex stitches, number 3, 5, 7, or 9, is we have to set our controller here on the little red dot. We have to put the little red dot adjacent to the little black dot, just like that. And now the machine is going to recognize these flexi stitches, okay? The next thing we have to do is we have to choose the stitch. So we know that, I think it was Shirley. Shirley wants to see number 5. Bill said, let's look at number 9. So let's go with number 5 first. Just slide this over. That's easy enough. And then we have to remember to also adjust our stitch width. And I usually go for the largest setting just to say that I did it, push it all the way over to here. So we set our stitch width at the widest point. You can certainly go more narrow if you want. Our needle position is going to be unchanged. Our stitch selector is going to set in this region, which is going to cover both of these stitches. It's going to cover number 4 and number 5, depending on where we set this control here. So we'll try to do number 5 first. This is our flexi stitch fine tuner. I'm going to move it kind of towards the middle a little bit. Maybe a little bit to the side of shorter, so we get a little bit of a tighter pattern. But you can see all you do is once you sew one of these flexi stitches, whether it's 3, 5, 7, or 9, if it looks like it's a little bit wonky, you can use this as your fine tuner to make it a little bit wider, pushing it to the right, or a little bit more narrow, pushing it to the left, either right or left. Pretty simple adjusting method, pretty simple adjusting method. All right. So let's give number 5 a chance first, and then we'll try doing number 9 after that. And I'm going to push the machine back just a little bit further. See if we can get a little bit better camera angle on it. I don't have the option of shutting the light off on this one. What I could do is I could cover this if we get a glariness, but it looks like we've got a pretty good image right now where you can see what's happening down at the needle. Give me a second. I heard a text message come in. I'm just going to make sure it doesn't require a response right away. Oh, okay. Susie, this is actually a message for you. The concrete guy will be here in about 30 minutes. Concrete guy will be here in about 30 minutes. So that's a message for Susie. for some concrete work that she's having done. So in the live stream, we'll let Susie know. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's do number 5 and then we'll do number 9 for Bill, okay? All right, let me get my foot controller in place. Hopefully you're able to see some of this. And again, as you're looking at these stitches going down, I'm hoping you'll be able to see them fairly well. Remember that this 6215 C, I have to remember the C to designate that it was made in Brazil. This 6215C has a slant design for the needle. So we should be able to see these stitches going down a little bit sooner than we would with a traditional straight needle bar. The slant needle bar gives us an opportunity, hopefully, to see those stitches getting laid down even sooner than later. All right? Yeah. All right. Here we go. Let's give this a go. I'm going to try to do number 5 and then number 7. Let me check my settings one last time. I think our settings are okay. And I want you to give this machine a listen as well. In fact, I'm going to shut the heater off over here. See if I can make it a little bit quieter in this temporary workshop. And give this 6215C a listen as far as how she runs, how she sounds, etc. Okay? All right, here we go. A flexi stitch, number 5, on 2 layers of heavy grade denim. All right, here we go. Yeah, once I get her going here, hold on. All right, we'll stop right there. And this is going to be, again, stitch number 5 that I believe Shirley wanted to see. So there's our flexi stitch. It really is kind of a cool stitch. It's got a lot of stitch overlay, as I think you can see on the camera. Really quite a lovely stitch. And again, the whole idea of the flexi stitches is that they're going to give a little bit of mobility, a little bit of movement. Great to use on denim so that it has a little bit of a stretch factor to it. There's our lock stitch on the back, also looking really, really good as well. I think we got a solid page 34. Not sure what the thumbs up is for, but maybe Shirley likes the stitch, right? All right. Okay, so we've done our flexi stitch number 5. Now we're going to do our flexi stitch number 9 that Bill picked out. And again, we're sewing on denim, 2 layers of that. Let's see what we think of this next one. Okay, so the only change that I have to make, and I'll give you another look at those stitches here. Shut the light off just temporarily. Yeah, nice stitch, real nice stitch. Now we're going to do number 9. So all we're going to do is slide. We're going to slide the stitch selector over to 9. And on this number 9, because of its design, you can see the intricacy of number 9. Number 9 is probably, out of any of the flexi stitches, is the most intricate. Because it is so intricate, I'm going to take our fine adjuster and I'm going to move it a little bit to the left to make this a little bit more compressed and to tighten up that stitch pattern, because we're going to have so much needle movement. So I'm going to see if I can slide this over just a little bit more. We're a little bit left of center now if you look at it straight on. And that should help us in defining that flex pattern just a little bit more. Otherwise, it's going to be stretched out a little bit too much, and we're not going to get the clarity of that stitch the way we would want it. Okay, so let's do this next flexi stitch for Bill, and then we'll move on to some of these other stitches, some of these other patterns as well. It's actually a better camera angle right there. I like that better. We'll do it from the side like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. There we go. All right. That way the light doesn't mess up with it quite as much. Okay, I'm going to bring my take up arm all the way up. And now we're going to try this next stitch, which is another type of flexi stitch that Bill O'Rourke from Kissimmee, Florida picked out. Let's give this a try and check it out. All right, here we go. And you'll notice this one, I'm just going to pause there for a second. You'll notice this one not only has needle movement, but it also has that tri motion. It also has that tri motion. Tri motion is where, with a combination of needle movement, either left and right or sometimes front to back, the feed dogs are going to also be in movement as well to complete that stitch pattern. So watch for the manipulation of that material as it's laying down this very, very complicated flex stitch that Bill picked out. Okay. All right, here we go again. Once I get my foot on the foot controller, it's got one of those clam style ones. Here we go. I think I got it. All right, I'm going to stop right there. We'll take a look at both of these stitches. I think my bobbin's getting real low. I'm going to have to take a look at this. Let's take a look at that bobbin and see if we're getting really, really low. And we are. We're getting quite low. That's one of the advantages of this drop-in style bobbin versus the one that would be like on a featherweight and a 301 is on this one. You can look almost straight away. Shut that light off. And you can get an idea of where a bobbin thread level is. And certainly you can go with a class 66 transparent plastic bobbin so you can see it even easier. But I'm not a big fan of the plastic bobbins. They don't tend to spin as true as the metal ones. And they also can get chipped or cracked. The metal ones are a lot more bulletproof when it comes to heavy use and not getting damaged or compromised. All right, let's take a look at these two stitch lines picked out by Shirley and by Bill. Two of our flexi stitches on this 6215C that was made in Brazil. Let's take a look at these. Camera's going, I don't know if I'm ready to look at them yet. Maybe not yet. Let's try it like that. There we go. So these are, again, are two of the flexi stitches, as they're referred to on this 6515 C out of Brazil. Really lovely. And whether you did it, as Bill and Shirley were talking about, doing it on denim or using it maybe even in a quilting project, they really would present, I think, in a spectacular way. Let's go all the way down and look at them. Very, very nice. See if we can turn it this way now. The camera will be happy, hopefully. Yeah, very, very nice. And I didn't talk about setup, but we are using a 9014 needle. We're using a 9014 universal needle. And with a 9014 universal needle, we're not going to get the level of clarity of stitch that we would if we were using an 8012 or maybe even a 7511 embroidery needle. These are really stitch patterns that are more in the embroidery class, especially the one on the bottom that Bill picked out. So just keep that in mind as you're looking at the stitch presentation, is that we are looking at stitching with a 9014 needle. That's not going to have quite the clarity. There we go. It's not going to have quite the clarity that we would get from a smaller needle, and maybe even a floss type thread or an embroidery thread would give us a finished stitch pattern and product that would be absolutely spectacular. But these are really quite impressive using a basic Coates and Clark thread and using a 9014 Schmetz needle. Really a lot of detail and clarity of the stitch pattern. It's really quite lovely. And we wouldn't have gotten the clarity of the stitch pattern on this pattern over here that Bill picked if we hadn't adjusted that fine tuner. It wouldn't have had quite the clarity that it does here if we had left it on the default center setting. So just keep that in mind. If you have one of these 6000 series machines that were made in Brazil, that fine tuner really is critical when you get into these flex stitches. It really is critical. So let's turn it over now. Look at that lock stitch. See what we think of that. I'll give you a distant shot of all this here. Really quite lovely. I'm glad that Sherry and Bill picked these particular stitches as a launching point. They really are quite spectacular, aren't they? Quite spectacular. So here's our lock stitch now. Let's take a look at that. We'll get in close on the lock stitch and see what we think of that. On the rear of the material, see how our tension was maintained. We'll go like this. For some reason the camera seems to like looking at it like this first, which is fine with me. And here is we're looking at the stitch on the, what would it be, on your left, I think. The first stitch we did, number 5. We've got really good looking stitching, but we can see that there might be a slight tension opportunity, a very, very slight tension opportunity. A very, very slight tension opportunity. And as you look at this stitch here, this one here, you'll see what I mean, where we could tighten it up just a little bit. Let's take a look at that again. Right there on top at the launch. Right at the launch up here, you can see a couple of those stitch weaves going across could be just a little bit more tight. Let's go all the way down. This again is our lock stitch. We could tighten that up maybe just a little bit more with a tension adjustment. We don't have any control over the presser foot pressure, so we've got to rely on the machine and the engineering to take care of that on this particular model. But all in all, I would say that they're very, very good stitches. Very, very nice stitching. But we can always make it better, and that's where I take issue. I take issue with anyone saying that they've sewn a perfect stitch, because there's always ways, in my opinion, there's always ways to improve on a stitch. If you really, really look at it under a microscope, if you look at it with a lot of scrutiny, you can see that there are opportunities to improve on it. So, really, really good looking stitching, but we could always make it better. Always make it better. That's our lock stitching. And this again is our top stitching, where the bobbin case did a brilliant job of keeping the clarity of that stitching absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. So those are two of our flexi stitches, that Bill and I believe it was Shirley picked out. Now we're going to move on to some other materials. I'll throw that in the back. Move on to some other materials and let you pick out some additional stitches. So again, as we're looking at the machine, I'll kind of turn the machine a little bit. As we're looking at the machine, the stitch options that I can offer you is we've got a straight stitch. Obviously, this is a reinforced type straight stitch as well. This is going to use tri-motion. When we do it, it's kind of a forward, back type thing. It creates really a kind of a pearlized type stitch. It's really quite lovely. That's our first little flexi stitch, number 3. And we've got a typical zigzag at number 4. We've got this stitch here that we just did, blind hem. We've got number 7, this one here. It's kind of a combing stitch, 3-point zigzag. And then finally, we have this stitch here that Bill just picked out, number 9. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. And then tell me what material you want to see that stitch laid down on, and I'll be happy to try to do that. So I'm going to rotate the machine back. All right. So the materials again, I'll just go over them again real quick so you can see. The materials again that we have is, this is kind of an upholstery material. This was sent by Emma. This is kind of an upholstery material. Outdoor carpeting. I don't think I want to do any of the flex stitches on this. Ha! I don't think so. But maybe. Then we also have this canvas material, this green canvas that Emma sent with Jane's machine. We've got some of this satin with a light stiffener in between. This also is something that Emma had sent with Jane's machine, and she said just keep the extra. You can use it in other live streams. So I'm following Emma's recommendation of repurposing the extra material in this live stream with this satin. So we have this satin material as well. This might be a fun one to use one of those flex stitches on. We've got this vinyl material here, 2 layers of that. Genuine cowhide. We've got 100% cotton with a quilt batting in between. We've got some of this 100% nylon ribbon type material. We sewed this on the last live stream. I didn't know what was going to happen. Never used it before. So this would be an interesting sew off during this live stream today with one of the stitches that we have available. We've got this outdoor material, which really created quite a few challenges in the last live stream, but together we put our heads together and narrowed it down, and eventually we had success with this outdoor material that Emma sent as well with Gracie, the machine that came out of Florida. So we'll probably try stitching this again today. Not sure what problems we might encounter. Hopefully there's no issues with this relating to presser foot pressure, because I have no control over that on this model 6215C out of Brazil. But the last time we had issues with that outdoor material, it was not presser foot issue based anyway. And then we got this fake fleece material that's 100% polyester. And finally, this Amazon Prime packing parchment paper. So lots of options on sew-offs. And I always like to involve the audience. So if any of you have an input as far as one of the materials I just showed and which one you want to see sewn, what kind of stitch you want me to try to lay down on it, I'm happy to try to do that. So, what do they say? Let your voice be heard now or forever, just be happy. Be happy. Yeah. 100% cotton. 100% cotton with a 3-point zigzag. 100% cotton 3-point zigzag. Let me see if I can dig that one out. So I think our 100% cotton is the one that has that quilt batting. So we got this sew off right here. It's kind of a charcoal colored 100% cotton, 2 layers of that. Fairly good thickness of quilt batting in between. We'll try that 3-point zigzag that Susie wants to see and see what we think of that one. All right, presser foot is down. Let's set it for the 3-point zigzag. And the 3-point zigzag, as you can see, is not going to be the 3-point zigzag number 8 is not going to be one of those flexi stitches. So we've got to change our controller right here from where it's set right now. We'll change it over and we'll adjust the stitch length down a ways. Take it down to maybe about 2, maybe 1.5. So we'll take this all the way down to 1.5. We've got this set over here. We got to move this one over. Move that right over to the, there we go. So number 8. And needle position, stitch width will leave the same. So I think we're pretty much set. We'll lay down a 3-point zigzag on this 100% cotton with this quilt batting. We'll see what we think of this one. And I'll see if I'm able to hold the camera and kind of bring it down so you can watch it get laid down. This kind of gives you a different perspective on the sew off. Let's see what that looks like. All right, here we go. We'll see what this 3-point zigzag looks like on this material. All right, here we go. All right, let's stop right there. Pull this out and take a look at this 3-point zigzag now. And again, our setup, if you're joining us a little bit late, our setup is we have a 9014 universal Schmetz needle, and we're using our pretty much go-to Coates & Clark dual duty XP thread, our dual duty XP thread. All right, let me give that a clip and we'll look at the top stitching, which is right here, and then we'll look at the lock stitching right after that, okay? Top stitching, lock stitching. There we go. And again, if we use a smaller needle, we're going to get even better clarity of stitch. But all in all, we're getting some pretty good clarity with this 3-point zigzag. Let me go across and kind of show you. Some really, really good looking stitching. We could use a little bit more definition. So what we might do is just tweak that upper tension back a little bit. We might tweak that upper tension back a little bit to give us even greater definition. But all in all, we're getting some real good clarity of stitch with those strike points as that needle is hitting the same spot and overlaying that thread multiple times in the sewing process. Kind of go up like this and take a look at it that way. Yeah, some really good clarity. If I hold it right there, you can really see it. And sometimes it's the angle of the material I'm holding too, isn't it? You change the angle of the material, kind of spin it around like this. You change the angle of the material and you can see even greater clarity on that 3-point zigzag as we hold it like this. Kind of angle it a little bit down. This is still our top stitch, but it gives you a little bit different perspective of the clarity of that stitch. All right, enough of that. Let's turn it around, look at that lock stitch. That lock stitch is going to have even greater clarity because that upper tension was pulling up just a little bit harder. We'll take a look at that now with the lock stitching 3-point zigzag that Susie picked. And again, as I change the angle of it, look at the lighting hits that. Look at the strike points. They pop out even more depending on how the light is hitting them. See that? Here, they're a little bit muted. And then as that light hits them, that 3-point zigzag really, really comes to life beautifully. See if we can turn it like this too, get a little bit different angle on it. Change the angle a little bit. You can see the strike points when I turn it on the angle a little bit and the light catches that. Just like if you turn it like this, you can see those strike points even with greater clarity. I'm just going to try to put my hand above it to block out that light a little bit. That light is kind of bleaching things out a little bit today, but as I cut my hand over it and you can see it, you can really see the beauty of that 3-point zigzag. That's one of my favorite stitches. Really quite a lovely stitch. But right now you can see my hand. I've got it above the camera to block out the bleaching of the bright LED lights. And we could make this even better if we were to use a smaller needle with a specialty thread. But really quite a lovely stitch. 3-point zigzag is, again, one of my favorites, one of my absolute favorites. It's kind of fun to look at it like that too. Turn the other side over this way. Yeah, lovely stitch. Really, really quite nice. And I'm going to throw this to the back, but we can certainly use more of this 100% cotton on some of the other stitches if you folks want to see them. Okay, so let's do this now. Let's see here. Yeah, I agree, Bill. I think it does an excellent job, doesn't it? It really does quite a nice job. So what are we at? We're at 2 hours already. I'm going to make some choices and then involve you again in just a little bit. But I'm going to do some more stitching. I'm going to see if we can lay down a zigzag on this outdoor carpeting. See if you can stick it. I'll run it right down pretty much down the middle. Push these other papers back a little bit. And this outdoor carpeting, again, is the same stuff that I have on the workbench surface right now. It's heavy stuff. Kind of look at it from the side, you get an idea of how thick this stuff is. And again, it's used for outdoor applications, so you know that there's going to be a combination of vinyl or nylon in here, which is going to increase that difficulty level even harder for this Brazilian machine to get through it, but I think we'll be okay. So I'm going to change our setting back now. We're going to go back to a more traditional zigzag. See if we can lay down some stitching on this outdoor carpeting. All right, let me move this back across. So you can see right now the way I've got it set. I've got it set on a stitch length of right around 4. It's pretty close to 4, 3.5, something like that. I've got the stitch length set on 4. And I'm going to, as a result, I'm going to get this zigzag right here that you can see, number 4. If I were to move this controller to the red dot like we did before, then instead of getting that zigzag, we would get this stitch again, number 5. So again, I think the engineering and design to make this machine relatively easy to use, they did a really, really good job with it. They made it a user-friendly machine, and I think it was probably quite a popular machine back in the day. Let's see. We'll go like this. We'll come from this angle, give you a little bit different perspective. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try that angle right there. All right, so I'm going to lay down a zigzag now on this. And again, I don't have any control over presser foot pressure. The presser foot pressure is automated on this 6215 C out of Brazil. So sewing a material of this density and this thickness and this girth, it may affect the presentation of that zigzag just a little bit as far as the length and the overall presentation of the stitch. Anyway, let's see what we get. We'll see what we get, and then we'll have an idea of how well that automated presser foot pressure is managing this for us. All right, here we go. And I took that nice and easy, nice and slow, no rush. Just lay down a zigzag on this outdoor carpeting. And I don't know what the backing is on this. It's got a weird kind of backing. It almost feels like it was heat treated or something like that. But we'll check out this stitching and see how well this 6215 did sewing outdoor carpeting. Not usually at the top of our list when we're looking to sew with our sewing machines. We're not usually saying, oh yeah, I think I'll sew outdoor carpeting today. But I like to do it. I like to do things like this just to give you a different perspective of what our sewing machines are capable of doing. You know what I mean? It opens up our eyes to other possibilities. Just like when I started sewing on the Amazon packing parchment paper, everyone started saying, hey, you know what? I might try some projects with paper because the paper does such a beautiful job of presenting that stitch. It really, truly does. All right, let's see if we can get in on this. There we go. So I'm really pleased. I'm incredibly pleased. If you look at that really close, we've got a zigzag with that needle movement going through this thick stuff. Look at that. It's outdoor carpeting. And yet the clarity of the stitch that this 6215 did, the 6215C, is really quite impressive. Look at all as I go across. Some beautiful, beautiful zigzagging through a very, very difficult, dense material. The presentation of that zigzag is absolutely bang on. It's absolutely as it should be. Let me pull it like this as well. Absolutely a gorgeous zigzag stitch on this machine. And again, we're powered by a 0.75 amp motor. If you weren't in the beginning of the live stream, we talked about the motor size. And the motor size is right around 0.75 amps. That's a big motor. That's a big motor. And having serviced this machine, I can tell you that that motor is a meaty motor. It's built well. It's built to some very, very high standards. And if some of you were wondering, a number of these 6000 series singers that were made in Brazil, sometimes the motor would be made in France. But on this particular motor, it was made in Brazil. But if you thought that, then you were absolutely right. A lot of them were made in France. So, but this is strictly a Brazilian machine. And we've had, if some of you are new to cow country, you may not know this, we've had a number of people visit us in the live streams that are from Brazil. I'm hoping that some of them will see this and they can really celebrate the beauty of what this machine is doing that came from their country. Yeah, got to kind of pull it back a little bit to see it, don't I? Yeah, beautiful stitching. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. So a beautiful top stitch. What are we going to see on the lock stitch? Are we going to see a loopy doopy? Are we going to see something else weird? Probably not. We're going to see a beautiful lock stitch as well. I'll just kind of go across and show you. This is our lock stitch on this outdoor carpeting. Yeah, very, very nice. And if I were sewing outdoor carpeting like this all day long with our current setup, the only thing I would change is I would go to a size 100 or maybe even a size 110 on the needle size. And the reason I would do that is it would reduce even further the distortion of stitch. It would make a little bit bigger hole so that that stitch could come through nicely. Yeah, look at it like this also. Yeah, some really, really good stitching there. I would definitely give it a page 34, maybe even a page 34 plus. So our lock stitching through this outdoor carpeting is really quite excellent. See if I can turn the camera a little bit. There we go. Beautiful stitching. Also our top stitching as well. You can see how dense this stuff is. You almost lose the stitch, don't you? As you look at that, you kind of lose the stitch. Like, where's the stitch? Where'd it go? But you can see the depth of that outdoor carpeting. That stitching is really, really it's kind of depressed down there a little bit almost, isn't it? You got to kind of pull it back to see it laid on there. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. All right. So let's move on. Let's move on. I'm wanting to wrap this up soon, but we've got more stitching to do. So again, if you join us a little bit late, our stitch options on this Brazilian 6215C, our stitch options are these right over here. We've got this straight stitch. It's kind of a reinforced straight stitch that gives a beautiful pearlized look to that stitch. We just got done doing a zigzag, which is number 4. Number 5 is going to be one of those flexi stitches. We've already done that, but it was done on denim. We could certainly try doing it on a different material. Blind hem stitch, this combing style stitch, number 7, 3-point zigzag, number 8, and then finally this really cool, I call it a catacomb type stitch, but there's probably a proper name for it, and some of you might call it something different. But I'm going to call this a catacomb stitch. And any one of these stitches, 2 through 9, we can lay down on these materials that we have remaining. I'll just show you what they are again real quick. The materials we have that are remaining are this 100% nylon material. It's made to look like a shimmery ribbon material. Kind of tricky stuff. It's incredibly sheer, and particularly with an auto-adjusted presser foot, I'm wondering how this will do on this 6215C. So I'm going to sew this whether anyone picks it or not eventually. And then we've got this outdoor material that gave us a bit of a challenge the last time, but we were able to overcome it and get a beautiful stitch line on this outdoor material. There we go. We also have this 100% cowhide. It's probably about 3 ounces, almost 4 ounces of leather. It's not crazy thick, but it's relatively thick, as you can see. So we can also try leather on this 6215C as well. We got this nylon. We've got this 100% satin. And these materials, again, were donated with the machine that Emma sent from Florida. So we've got satin, we got nylon. We've got canvas, like a canvas type material here. Let's see. I think this is another type of canvas material as well. Kind of feels like it. Actually, you know what? I may have these switched. This might be kind of a canvas and an upholstery material. Maybe is the correct way. At any rate, they're heavy duty sewing. I think this might be canvas and this might be upholstery over here. These are things that Emma sent, so I didn't even know what they were for sure until Emma shared with us at the live stream for Jane. And then this is our 100% polyester made to look like fleece. And then finally, our Amazon Prime packing parchment paper that we can try as well. So what do y'all think? If you want to chime in, looks like Susie is saying, let's do number 2 on canvas. Let's see, pull that canvas out. This green should be our canvas material. Let's set that up there. All right, 2 layers of canvas. And then Susie is saying, let's do number 2. Number 2 is going to be a standard straight stitch. Number 2 will be a standard straight stitch. So what I would like to do is I'd like to do the standard straight stitch that Susie requested. And then what I'd like to do is then do this tri-motion straight stitch as well that creates a polarized type stitch. And that'll require that we set it on that flexi setting there. So we'll do number 2, and then we'll also do number 3 as well on this canvas type material. Yeah, why not? Yeah, Bill wants to see that sheer fabric as well. I'm with Bill because I don't know how this machine is going to do with an auto presser foot adjustment sewing this kind of stuff. I'm not sure how it's going to do. You can see how translucent it is. That's my finger behind it, and that's 3 layers. That's 3 layers of that. Yeah, and even Shirley from what she shared and the answers and the insights that she's already provided, Shirley is an experienced sewist, and she says, yeah, those sheer materials, they can really be a challenge. They can really, really be a challenge. So we're going to see if we can have success, hopefully, with this 6215 model made in Brazil. Hopefully we can have some success with it. So we'll start with a basic straight stitch, and then we're going to move from a straight stitch over to that flexi straight stitch that gives kind of a really cool overlaid pearlized type straight stitch look. It's really designed as a super strong stitch, super, super strong. Okay, let me see here. Okay, so we're going to lay down that straight stitch, and then we'll do the second. And when we do that second straight stitch, it's going to be a kind of a pearlized version of a straight stitch. I'll see if I can bring the camera down to the needle area so you can watch it lay that down and watch that material being manipulated back and forth with the tri-motion function of the machine. Really is quite an engineering marvel. It truly is. Okay, so a basic straight stitch and then a pearlized straight stitch, as I would call it. Okay, here we go. And maybe what I should do on this canvas material is I can lay down 2 different lengths of straight stitching. One that's going to be a little bit longer, one that's going to be a little bit shorter. All right, here we go. Get that there. You can see that static playing havoc on the thread again. It's kind of giving it a little bit of a curliness. All right, here we go. Straight stitch, and then we'll do a purlized straight stitch. All right. Oh, it doesn't like this canvas very much. It does not like this canvas very much. I might actually see if I can, I'm going to analyze this real quick. I'm going to look at this stitching and then see whether or not we want to make a tweak on this. I'm going to go ahead and pull this apart. I don't like the look of this stitching at all. We're going to give it a try again. And this is where the presser foot pressure makes me a little bit nervous being automated in how it's managing that material movement. I'm going to pull this apart and we're going to try it one more time. And I'm going to see if I can adjust something a little bit to get a different look. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Guggenheim shears. Grab our Guggenheim shears and slow the machine down, and then also give it just a little bit more room to tie off that knot on this canvas material. A little bit more room. See if that helps. Otherwise, this machine might just not be a fan. Let's see if we can give a little bit more room for that knot. So I just doubled our thickness. See if I can lay down some standard straight stitching. And then we'll see if we can lay down that purlized stitch next to it. And I have no idea what's going to happen. We'll give this a try. This might be a fix. This might not be a fix. Here we go. Slow it down, slow it down. Yeah, that was the right thing to do. I still don't quite like the look of it, but that definitely helped. And part of that is when you're dealing with a machine that has auto presser foot pressure, you give just a little bit more thickness there. It's going to push down harder. It's going to give us a little bit more of an even stitch than we're sewing with some of the lighter materials. It'll be interesting to see how it handles that real sheer material with this auto presser foot pressure. All right, so let me lay down next to this now. I'm going to lay down, I'm going to check the stitching look. I'm going to lay down that purlized stitch next to it and see what success we have with that. So the only thing I'm going to change, I'm going to take this and I'm going to adjust this stitch selector here from the open setting to the red dot setting. You leave it right here and we should be able to get stitch number 3 now, hopefully. And we're going to leave our stitch length actually on straight stitching so that it continues to do a straight stitch mode. It's just going to incorporate the cam function to give us a little bit more overlay on that stitching. We'll see what we think of this one. Yeah, I don't think this machine is a big fan of canvas, but we're gonna try to finish off the race here. I'll get down here so you can look at it from this angle while it's stitching, and we'll go from there. Get that. I got to bring that take-up arm all the way up. Okay, and again, watch the manipulation of that material with that tri-motion function and this purlized straight stitch. Okay, all right, here we go. Checking my settings. I think everything looks good. All right, let's give this a go. This foot controller is kind of moving around. It's got a mind of its own. Okay, camera's focusing, I think, finally. There it is. Good. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to stop right there. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this pearlized straight stitch. Incredibly strong stitch. If you're trying to mend something together and you want it to have a lot of strength, but also a little bit of flexibility, this is an amazing, amazing stitch. Let's take a look at this one and see what we think of these two stitches. Both straight stitches, but with very different looks. Very, very different looks. Kind of go across like this. And we'll look at these vertically as well. I think it'll give us a little bit better ability to see that stitch definition. But again, we went through 4 layers. You see that little tipping of the stitch? Where was it? On this side. See that little tipping of the stitch right about there? That's a factor of tension. It's going through a lot of canvas, 4 layers of canvas. And the hole that this 9014 needle is putting through isn't quite big enough to accommodate that thread through this many layers. And so we will see a periodic tilting of the stitch. If we use a bigger needle, we're going to be able to eliminate that. Oh, Bill is saying check the bobbin. Yeah, we're getting really low, Bill. We're getting really, really low. Getting very, very low on the bobbin right now. Well, and again, remember canvas would benefit from a different type of needle than a universal needle. Universal needle is going to have a rounded point. We need something that's going to cut through this. We would have even more success sewing this canvas if we were using, say, a leather needle. But again, we would need a bigger leather needle, probably a size 100, 110. But these lessons are to teach us things. That's why I do these live streams. It's not to always show you the perfect product. It's to show you a product and then for us to reason through how we can make it better. That's why I say there's no such thing as a perfect stitch. Any stitch can be improved upon. We're getting some good results considering our setup. Our setup is a 9014 needle with very, very general purpose Coates and Clark XP thread. We could use different types of thread. Even a Kevlar thread with a leather needle would give us a better product than we're getting right now. But it's good to see these things because it gives us an idea on how to improve it. Still gives us an idea of how to improve things. And again, depending on the perspective of how you look at a stitch, it also will change the appearance as well. Let me put my hand above there to block out some of the glare of the light. All right, let's turn over and look at the lock stitch. And again, through 4 layers of heavy grade canvas, you can see even from this angle, all of a sudden you get a different perspective of the stitch, don't you? And on a stitch like this, through this much canvas, you're going to see a better pronounced lock stitch, but you're also going to see certain issues with that tri-motion stitch as well. You're going to see certain issues with that tri-motion stitch because of it trying to pull that all the way through those layers again. And I didn't pre-test this, so I didn't know what would happen when we tried applying a flexi stitch against 4 layers of canvas. You just don't know until you try it, you know? And again, remember too, we don't have any control over presser foot pressure. No control over presser foot pressure. Camera's having a little trouble focusing on this. There we go. Kind of blocking out that LED light is really causing a lot of trouble today in getting that clarity of stitch. Well, anyway, you get the idea. We're dealing with a less than ideal setup when we're going through this much canvas material. Canvas by itself is a challenging material to get through. We would be better off using a size 100, a size 110 needle with a better cutting edge. These universals are great for most applications, especially woven type materials, but they don't do quite as well with something like this that's galvanized. Canvas needs more of a cutting type point on that needle. So it's good we tried it. It's good we see the results, and then we can find ways to try to improve upon it when we're doing it in different projects or applications. But all in all, considering our setup, if you look at the 2 stitches, the machine, I think, did a really, really good job of generating some quality stitching, considering the setup is, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. We need a bigger needle for this type of sewing. We need a bigger needle. Yep. All right, let me throw that in the back. 2 hours and 44 minutes. I'm going to try to buzz through a couple more sew-offs, and then we're going to wrap this up. And Bill was saying, let's check the bobbin. Looks like we've got enough thread to probably finish things. I'll shut the light off so you can see yourself. Got enough thread left. I think we'll be okay to do about 2 or 3 more sew-offs. 2 or 3 more sew-offs we should be able to get through, and then we'll wrap up this live stream. Everyone wanted to see this sheer material, so we got to try this sheer material. 3 layers of this stuff. I'm not sure how this machine will do in managing it, considering it's got that auto presser foot pressure, but we'll give it a try. Give it a try and see what we see. Very, very sheer material, very, very tricky material to get through. Very tricky. All right, got our presser foot down. 3 layers of this incredibly sheer 100% nylon material is what this is. We have had ribbon material before that's polyester. This is 100% nylon. So we'll see if we can get through this stuff and hopefully lay down a decent stitch with it as well. I'm going to do let me see. We haven't done a blind hem stitch yet. I'm going to do a blind hem, and then I think I'll try that. I think I'll try that combing stitch. That should be a really, really good one to try on this material as a second stitch off. The combing one is this one here, number 7. Number 7, if you wanted to see what it looks like. So we're going to try number 6 and number 7. Come on, camera. There we go. We're going to try number 6 and number 7 on this very, very sheer material. And hopefully we have success. Hopefully we have success. The machine is sewing very, very well. Very, very well. But let's just face it. When you're sewing certain materials with certain types of setups, you're going to have either more or less success. I think we'll have a great deal of success in some areas, like when we did the denim. We had some beautiful, beautiful stitching with this 6215 C machine through 2 layers of denim. Really spectacular. Other materials like this canvas, the machine's going to have a little bit more of a challenge in laying down the type of stitch we would want to see ideally, because our setup is not helping the machine. But that's okay. When we sew through a wide field of materials, it's going to give us greater insight into what we need to do to have success when we're taking on different projects. That's really the reason that I do these, is to give you insights and to have greater success when you're sewing on your projects. Okay, so let me go set it up for the blind hem. Let's see here. So I'm just making a couple of setting choices here. First of all, I set my stitch width. I'm not going absolutely as wide as I can. I'm going to narrow it down just a little bit. I've got our stitch selector on number 6, but it also will give us number 7, which we're going to do second. And then our stitch length, right now I set it on about 2.5. I probably will go up to about almost 3. So we'll do a blind hem first, and then we'll try to lay down this tricky combing stitch and see whether or not we can have success with this very tricky 100% nylon ribbon material. 100% nylon ribbon material. Checking my settings one more time. I think we're okay. All right, blind hem. And then after a blind hem, we'll move into this flexi stitch that should really, really test the resolve of this machine. Really, really should test it. Here we go. Oops, there we go. Let's turn the light back on. And we are getting low. We are getting low on bobbin threads. You might hear just a little bit more bobbin sound because that thread is getting so low on the machine. You start to wind it down, you'll hear a little bit more bobbin sound. And I can actually reduce that a little bit by adding just a little bit of lubricant underneath that bobbin case. As your bobbin gets lower, it's going to make a little bit more sound because there's a little bit more of a weight distribution factor with it. But I can put just a little bit of lubricant on the edge of here, and that should help with it turning a little bit more evenly and smoothly. All right, now we're going to go to the really tricky stitch. It's making me a little bit nervous. We're going to see if we can pull off this flexi stitch that we haven't sewn yet on this machine and see how it handles that. We've got an auto presser foot situation, so we'll see. We'll see what we get. We'll see what we get. Okay, we'll put it right about there. And what I'm going to change is I'm going to change our selector back to the red dot. So now we're going to be seeing if we can target this stitch here that we haven't sewn yet, number 7. Our stitch length will be set by the cam function, so we don't have to decide that. The only thing we have to decide potentially is the width. And I usually go a little bit wider on these, but I think I'm going to leave it where it's at to tighten it up a little bit more. Hopefully that's the right choice. Put it right about there instead of all the way over. And we'll try this flexi stitch next on this real tricky 100% nylon ribbon material. And I'll just show it to you real quick. This is how I bought it. It's in a spool of 9 feet. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's in a spool of 9 feet. This is the stuff we're sewing on right now. And it's available at the local Dollar Tree here in the Twin Cities. So you can get a roll of 9 feet of this 100% nylon ribbon material at your local Dollar Tree, potentially in the craft section, for $1.25. You're not going to find it for that price anywhere else. So you might want to check it out and give it a go yourself. All right, let's give this next stitch a try and see what we think of this one. I'm going to shut off that light above for just a second. See if that takes some of the, no, that's not going to help because of the glare of the bulb. See, part of that glare we're getting is from this bulb right here. The LED bulb that I replaced. Let's see. Let's see what result that has. Yeah, that would help a lot, but I'm not going to go to the effort of trying to attach it right now. What I'll try to do is I'll try to bring the camera down so you can see the action down at the needle as we are sewing this tricky 100% nylon material. We'll get it right about there, maybe. Get our take-up arm all the way up. All right, let me see. Check my settings again. I think our settings are okay. And we'll try this tricky combing stitch now, as I call it. We'll see how we do with this 100% nylon ribbon material. All right, here we go. All right. Now the suspense is killing me as far as how we did on this. Let's take a look at these and see if we had success or opportunity. Success or opportunity. It sure is pretty material, that's for sure. That nylon, the glittery appearance of it, you could do a lot of fun things with this. A lot of fun things. All right, this is going to be our top stitching first. Hopefully the camera is able to focus in on it, give us a clear picture of this stitching. I may have to hold something behind this because of how sheer it is. Let me see if I can find something, maybe a card or something like that to hold behind it. Or even this, maybe this would work. Is that going to help? I think that's going to help a little bit, isn't it? So this again is our top stitching. Our top stitching on this 100% nylon material. I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing considering the material we're sewing on. This stuff is like sewing on slippery, shiny rice paper. And it managed this sew off very, very well. Very, very well. All right, let me see if I can hold it like this as well. Trying to get it straight, reasonably straight. I'll tell you one thing, sewing on a material like this with the setup we have, I am incredibly impressed with the stitch definition of what this 6215C just did. I'm going to try to get really, really close on this. Especially that flexi stitch, the clarity of that is impressive to me considering the material that we're stitching on. So many things can go wrong sewing on 100% nylon ribbon material like this. So many things can go wrong. Really is quite a beautiful presentation too. Quite beautiful. Yeah, very, very nice. Very, very nice. So that's our top stitching, which I think the machine did a fabulous job. I think the machine did a fabulous job. And that's also, I mean, I got to take some credit, right? This machine was not stitching well at all when she came to the workshop. And she's stitching very, very well now. Very, very well now. So that's our top stitching. Let's turn it around and see if we can look at the lock stitching now on the back of the material. We'll get a little bit closer. Maybe we'll look at it like this first. It's going to be our lock stitching. Very, very nice. Imagine if we were sewing on this 100% nylon ribbon material and we're using more of a precision needle to lay down this stitching. We would have a lot more success. But even now we're getting a product that I think is definitely brag worthy and page 34 considering our setup. Our setup is not very friendly towards sewing on material like this, but we're doing it anyway. And the machine is executing, I think, brilliantly, laying down the stitching brilliantly. So that's our lock stitching. I don't know if shutting that light off will help or not. Maybe not. It's so doggone sheer. That's our lock. Where am I? There's our lock stitching. Really quite nice. Very, very nice, I think. Very, very nice. Our top stitching. Also very, very nice as well. So the ribbon material was a little bit of a anxiety point for me, just a little bit. But the machine, in spite of a less than ideal setup, did a great job. So far, we've done the denim. This machine really, really likes denim with the setup we have. We did 100% cotton with quilt batting. We did outdoor carpeting. We did this canvas material, 4 layers of that. With our setup, the machine isn't quite as happy with 4 layers of canvas. But if we shift it over to a different type of needle that would accommodate this material better, we would get much better results. And then we finally did this very, very sheer ribbon material made out of 100% nylon and got some absolutely breathtaking results with that. So we really have gone from the thick of the thick, the heaviest of the heavy, to the light of the light. And the machine has done, I think, an exceptional job executing some really, really good outcomes and good results. So I'm gonna move towards wrapping it up. We're at about 3 hours. We obviously started with the unboxing. We started with the unboxing of that machine that came out of New Jersey and had been ordered by Sibel out of Brooklyn, New York. And that was kind of a shocking experience. And now we've moved into enjoying this Brazilian Singer 6215C with its 0.75 amp motor. And I think we're going to wrap it up pretty quick. I might do some paper sewing. I don't know. I might even get adventurous and try that outdoor material. But the materials we have left are the paper, the outdoor material. We've got leather. Leather is always fun to sew. Maybe I'll put that up on the bed area. We got this vinyl. We've got another really light material. We've got this 100% satin material as well with a stiffener. We've got this, I think it's another type of upholstery material. And then finally, this fake fleece material as well. So those are our materials that are left. If anyone wants to chime in, then chime in. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead. And make a couple of final choices. I share Bill's concern that we're getting really crazy low on our bobbin thread, but I think we'll be able to finish the last of these off. And I think the direction that I might go, unless somebody wants to chime in, I think I might go paper and leather. I think I'm going to do leather next. I think I'll do some leather. Feel like I want to do a little bit of leather on this. We always seem to pull off some leather sew-offs. There we go. Genuine cowhide. And now the stitch. Now the stitch to lay down at it. That's the idea. I think I might go back to number 5. I really like number 5. Number 5 looks like this one right here. Maybe I'll do number 5. Let's see. We've already done 9. We've done 8. We've done 7. We've done 6. We have done 5. We've done 4. We've done 3. We've done 2. So maybe I'll do 5. 5 would be a fun one, I think, to do on this genuine cowhide. I'm going to move it right over to there. I think I've got that in the right position. There we go. So I'm going to try to lay this stitch down. It's a pretty complex stitch to be sewing it on leather when I don't have a leather needle, but I'm going to give it a go and see what happens. Hopefully we get a good result. And what I may do is I may tighten this up even a little bit more on our flexi stitch fine tuner setting to pull that stitching a little bit tighter together. Because remember, this has a tendency where it's got almost like a webbing effect of thread over thread over thread kind of draped over. And it can get a little bit loose as you're stitching and going over that process. So we'll see if we can do it successfully on this leather with this particular stitch pattern. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. We'll figure it out, and hopefully we get a good result. Okay, here we go. Genuine cowhide. Genuine cowhide. Here we go. All right, I'm going to stop right there, and I can see we have one little anomaly that I can actually correct with my snips, I think. 2 little anomalies where the thread overlay, as I suspected, had a little bit of an issue. I'm going to pull that out of the way. There we go. Yeah, it's got such a draping effect on it. We had one other little anomaly right here, which I think I can correct pretty easily. All right, let's take a look at this. You know what? For sewing leather like this, after all the other sewing we've done, really a great result. I think you'll like this. And it gives a different feeling for this particular stitch. Gives a different feeling for this stitch on leather as well. It really shows up nicely. All right, let's take a look at this one. This again is going to be a flexi stitch. And this is a stitch, if you do it on leather, you'd be much better off doing it with a leather needle, but we didn't do that. We used a universal Schmetz needle. See if it zeroes in. And by shortening it up a little bit more using that fine tuner, I think that was definitely the right choice, considering our setup is not the ideal setup for leather. We need a leather needle in here if we're going to do this kind of detailed flexi stitching. But all in all, a good result, a very, very good result. And it gives us ideas on how we can improve it, doesn't it? Using an appropriate needle and executing it that way. Let's take a look at the lock stitch as well. Yeah, a little bit of a tension factor. I think we'd have to do a little bit of tension adjustment. But again, we went through genuine cowhide using a flexi stitch type stitch, using a universal needle. And I think that it would allow us to get even a better result if we had a different style leather needle in here, maybe even a size 100. Again, our top stitching. So overall, I think a real good result considering we're sewing on 100% genuine cowhide with a very, very difficult stitch that has a lot of needle movement, a lot of overlaying of that stitch. On each one of these sides of this zigzag type pattern, almost looks like we have about four webs of thread layered on there, about 4 layers of thread on there. So it's a very challenging stitch. Actually, it's probably more than 4. It's probably 5. Yeah. All things considered, a very, very good result. I'm going to throw that in the back. So far on this needle, we've gone through denim. We've gone through denim. We've gone through 100% cotton with quilt batting. We've gone through outdoor carpeting. We've gone through this 4 layers of canvas. We've gone through this very sheer 100% nylon. And now we've just gone through this 100% leather cowhide. So all I can say is really, really good results considering our setup. And I think we'll just do one more sew off and then we're going to wrap this up. I think we're going to wrap it up. We have more sew offs we could do. We already did the light side. I think I'll sew on some of this paper for fun. So we've got 2 layers to start. 2 layers to start on this Amazon packing parchment paper. I'll fold it over. That gets us up to 4 layers. I think that's 4 layers. 2, 4. And we got 6 layers. And finally, 8 layers. 8 layers of Amazon packing parchment prime paper. Paper is not easy to get through. It's not easy to get through at all. So I'm going to slide it in there. And with a very tiring needle that we beat up pretty badly, we'll see if we can lay down some fun stitching on this parchment paper. Also, with that automatic presser foot adjuster, we'll see how it does in feeding 8 layers of this parchment paper. We'll see how it does. All right, what can I do? I think I'll do a 3-point zigzag. And then I think we'll do the really detailed web one. We'll see if it can handle that. I don't know if it can or not. We'll see if it can handle that. We'll see if it can handle that. All right, so a 3-point zigzag to begin with. And then we will go to that very complex stitch on these 8 layers of Amazon packing parchment paper. And I'll see if I can bring you down there closer to the actions too. All right, here we go. All right, stop right there. Camera's having a little bit of trouble focusing on that paper, but we'll see if we can hopefully get a little bit of an image of that. And then we'll move on to this last very, very complicated stitch. I'm really happy with this 3-point zigzag. Hopefully we get a good result from that very, very tricky catacomb type stitch. But this is our 3-point zigzag that we just laid down on these 8 layers of parchment paper. Yeah, we'll look at it like this. I think it's prettier this way. Eight layers of Amazon Prime packing parchment paper. And you can really, the thing I love about paper is it really shows off those needle strikes so beautifully, especially when you get to the backside and you can see those needle strikes coming through. But really a lot of precision execution on the part of this Brazilian machine to give us a result that looks as good as this. Really, really lovely, lovely stitching. Very, very lovely. You can see it from the, look at when the light hits it. See when I tilt the paper back a little bit, you can see the paper from a different angle. It really, really gives you an idea of how beautiful that stitching is. When the camera focuses, it can. When the camera doesn't focus and you're like, I can't see anything, man. It's trying to focus on my jacket too. Let me see if I can help it a little bit again. Hold on. Maybe we can help it a little bit and focus on that envelope instead. There we go. I'm learning the tricks of camera work slowly but surely, I think. Slowly but surely learning the tricks of camera work. Those Hollywood people make it look so easy. They make it look so easy. So beautiful stitching. You can see it there with a great deal more clarity as I put that envelope behind it to block out some of that glare. As we turn it over, we'll look at that lock stitching as well. And you'll be able to tell it straight away because of that tuft of paper that's displaced. tuft of paper that's displaced when that needle comes through. I'm really a bigger fan of the top stitching because you can really see that that stitch definition popping through so much easier with the top stitching without that tuft of paper coming through. Just absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So 8 layers of Amazon Prime packing parchment paper, a definite happy point for this machine. Really enjoy sewing that paper. And I think the last thing, let's see. No, I think I'll do one more stitch on here just to really wrap things up well. Let's see here. That's our back stitching. Let's set it up like this. I don't know what's going to happen with this incredibly complex flexi stitch. This is a little bit of a challenge, I think, for the machine, but we'll give it a go. So we're going to leave this set on 8 and 9. And we're just going to take this to the red dot. And let's see our stitch width. Let's see. I think we'll leave it right about there. I'm trying to think of the best setup. We've got this fine adjuster down just a little bit tighter, which is, I think, what we want to do. But I think we want to give it a little bit more workspace. So I'm going to move it all the way to the widest point for this real complex catacomb stitch. And again, we're going to be doing this. Anyone can sew it on cotton. We're going to be sewing it on these 8 layers of parchment paper. I really do like to test these machines to the limit. And I think that this is definitely going to do that. You can see we had great success with a 3-point zigzag. I don't know what's going to happen with this complicated flexi stitch. We'll have to wait and see. All right, here we go. Keep your fingers crossed. Our final stitch on this Brazilian 6215 machine that, you know what? I think it's surprised a lot of people. It's done some really amazing things, and it's also highlighted some opportunities, as I call them as well, opportunities for us to learn what to do to have even greater success. Maybe it's a bigger needle, maybe it's a different type of needle, maybe it's a specialty thread. There's so many things we can do to set our machines up for success. So many things we can do. So here's our final stitch. The most complicated stitch that I could pick, and we're doing it on 8 layers of Amazon Prime packing parchment paper. Let's see what happens. I hope we have success. Here we go. All right. Again, I didn't try this off camera. I don't know what we're going to get. We might get a nightmare. We might get a beautiful tapestry. And I always like to finish well if we can. I always like to finish well. So let's check this out. This was a real test, in my opinion, of showing what this Brazilian machine can do. And I love wrapping it up with the paper because the paper does such a brilliant job of showcasing the beauty of the stitch generally, I would say. So let's check this out and see what we think. See what we think. Here's our top stitching first. I should probably get that little thing behind us again. Hold on a second. Okay, here's our top stitch. See if this helps a little bit, hopefully. And if none of you have done live streaming before, try it. It's always fun. It's always challenging, which is okay. It is having a heck of a time focusing on that, isn't it? All right, let me try it without the box. The box, for some reason, is causing it to be confused. Let's try it just like this. See if we can just get it to focus on it like this. Let's try like this. There we go. So you've already seen the 3-point zigzag. Now you're looking at that catacomb stitch, and we didn't sew it on a cotton or something easy peasy. We sewed it through 8 layers of Amazon packing parchment paper. And look at the stitch. Oh my goodness gravy. What a great way to finish up with this Brazilian machine, taking on what most would agree is a very difficult task with some very challenging stitches and laying down a result that is absolutely brag-worthy. Absolutely brag-worthy. Gorgeous stitching all the way down, all the way across. You can see the little lights coming through the back as well. I'm really inclined to use this box, but I don't know if that's going to help me or not. Hold on a second. It seems like using this box would be the right thing to do, but maybe it's not. There we go. Now it likes the box. Yay. Can you believe the complexity of that stitch? Really, both of them. Both of them are complex stitches. And going through this much paper, if you think sewing paper is easy, give it a go. 8 layers of parchment paper. I think the most we've done, and certainly not executing stitches like this, but the most I think we've done is 14 layers. So if you think it's easy, give it a try. I welcome the challenge, because that is a drop dead gorgeous stitch outcome from this Brazilian machine. Absolutely breathtaking. And realize when you're sewing with a machine, depending on your setup, you're going to have, what was the saying back in the Olympics? The agony of defeat or victory or whatever it was. There was a saying, I can't remember the saying. The triumph of victory, the agony of defeat, or something like that. The real world, when you're sewing through a wide field of sew-offs like this, let's turn it around and look at the lock stitch now. When you're sewing through a wide field of materials like this, you're going to have victories, and you're going to have, I don't call them failures, I call them opportunities. And I love doing that because it opens up our eyes to new solutions, doesn't it? Look at that. That's our lock stitching through 8 layers of Brazilian, or eight layers of Brazilian paper, 8 layers of Amazon paper on a Brazilian machine. Maybe it is Brazilian paper. I have no idea. But some incredible results. Incredible results. It's fun to have victory, but it's also fun to have challenges, because all of a sudden it opens up your eyes. It opens up your eyes to opportunity, doesn't it? It opens up your eyes to opportunity. So on this live stream, because we don't just do window dressing, we do the real deal. We've sewn 8 layers of Amazon Prime packing parchment paper with a very complex catacomb flexi stitch on the bottom there, and a very, pretty complicated 3-point zigzag on top, with just absolute, are you kidding me, perfection. Near perfection. Let me say that. Near perfection. So along with that, we also had a chance to sew. Let me see here. Shut that light off. That light is just goofy. Goofy Loofy. All right. We sewed the Amazon paper. Where else? The cowhide leather, also with an equally complex flexi stitch that we would be better off to sew it with a leather needle. Needles do make a difference. They do make a difference. So we could get even a better result if we sewed this with a leather needle, but we still got a great result. Again, the Amazon parchment paper, a brilliant result from that all the way around. This tricky 100% nylon stuff that is a little bit terrifying when you look at it, considering it's all nylon. But when we sewed it, we had a brilliant outcome, didn't we? We had a brilliant outcome, getting some really lovely stitching on this 100% nylon ribbon material. And a lot of people oohed and awed because it's spectacular. It presents so well. And then after we did that, we also did this canvas. Canvas was a challenge for this machine because I just don't think we have the best setup, but it still got through it with this very, very cool pearlized straight stitch. It's designed as a really, really strong binding stitch. And then we did this the regular straight stitch as well. And again, with a different setup, we could always improve the results. So I'm pleased. We sewed outdoor carpeting. Everyone says, why do you sew outdoor carpeting? Because we can. Because we can. We did 100% cotton with quilt batting. Got beautiful, beautiful results as well. And we did these beautiful stitches on these 2 layers of heavy grade denim as well. And some beautiful stitch outputs there as well. So what does success look like to me? Success looks like this, where we've gone through a wide field of sew-offs. We've decided to set up the machine in a certain way, 90-14 needle. Some of these sew-offs need a bigger needle. They need a different type of needle. And that's where Jenny, our ambassador to needles, could certainly be a resource to you. If you say, hey, I really love the way that those stitches presented on that 100% nylon ribbon material. Is there even a better needle than the one Scott used? The answer is yes. And Jenny could tell you. Jenny could tell you what needle that is. Maybe it's an embroidery needle. Maybe it's a microtex needle. But the needle technology, the needle anatomy is a big deal when you're sewing a wide field of materials like this. And if we don't have absolute success each time, it's okay, because it teaches us the path we have to take if we're going to be sewing a lot of that stuff to have success every single time and to have great outcomes. Because it's not the machine's fault that we choose a certain setup or a certain thread type or a certain needle size. That's the sewist decision. And you sometimes have to change your path if you say, I really, really love the way that presents on paper. I really love the look of that on paper. And I think I'd like to sew a lot of that parchment paper that Scott did in that live stream so I can get some results like that. Those are just beautiful, sexy stitches, beautiful, sexy stitches. Once the camera says, yeah, I'll focus on that. There they are. There they are. Ha ha! Yeah, baby. So success is also through opportunity. Never forget that. Success is also through opportunity. We will have bumps, we will have challenges, but ultimately we end with victory. We end with victory because the machine has shown its greatness in so many ways, even though our setup has worked against it in every way. The machine still pushes through and says, got it, done. All right. Well, you all take care. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Thank you to the leadership team for all you do to take care of the family. And remember, again, the roots of cow country go all the way back to 2009, the same year that Sully landed that aircraft on the Hudson River, the same year that we had our first African-American Black president. A number of things happened that year, but the coolest thing that happened in 2009, is Cow Country Vintage Sewing and Restoration. We'll just say Cow Country. Cow Country started producing world-class videos and reaching out to the world and inspiring and getting people excited about vintage sewing machines. And now, as a family that's grown significantly, we can do that together, right? We can do it together. And our leadership team can take care of us and guide us and inspire us. And we can just have fun. Fun's the big deal. We can have fun doing what we do here. So we'll see you the next time. I think I might do one on Tuesday, but I'm not sure because there's going to be some traveling involved on Tuesday. So if I do something, it might be pre-recorded, but we'll see, or we'll be next Saturday. Okay. 2009, never forget it. That was our beginning. If we had a building, it would be on that cornerstone with that date, 2009. So take care. God bless. And we'll see you again soon. Take care.